this movie has slimy producers trying to exploit the success of the first one written all over it.
Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia in Mission Impossible. What's Emilio Estevez's character's name?
Fuck you. His name is Fuck You, Dave. That's what his fucking name is.
Not even memorable enough for you to remember what they're called.
Honestly, go fuck yourself.
And I can't help that Woody wrote Andy a note in Toy Story 3. If I got a note that said, "Hey Jeff," and it turned out that it was that is literally the premise for Chucky.
Oh, everybody drank.
What?
Oh, what?
How did that happen already? All right.
Happy 9 a.m.
Oh my god.
I didn't know that was in the rules yet.
This is it.
This is it.
Hey
We're
there,
live.
film fan.
This is it. Yeah, let's do it. Go, Jeff. We'll
Okay.
go, Jeff.
Hey there, film fans. I'm Jeff.
I'm Dave.
And I'm John, and welcome back to The Love of Cinema, a pod in which we'll challenge one another to discuss movies both new and old with a strictly positive critical eye.
That's right. And to avoid any lazy negativity, we are making this a drinking game.
It always was.
Drinking game.
Any negative comment about a film is absolutely allowed, of course, but it will be called out and shamed. You will hear this incredible sound. That means you said something negative or stupid or unkind or ungrateful, and that means that you have to drink. And for all our people watching watching this live, you'll see us drink, so
Yes.
you'll be able to hold us account.
We're
And we
really
hope
doing this.
that you are at home hoping no super spreader is ringing your doorbell. And we hope that as soon as you hear that sound, you jump up, you realize, no, it's not a virus at your front door, and you take a drink with us. Moving on.
I can't follow that.
Oh,
So
God.
pour yourselves a glass. Give it up for the films we love to watch at Halloween, and maybe a film that needs some love. We'll decide who the fuck are these guys.
Yeah, who the fuck are these guys? How did you sneak on to our podcast, you bastards?
Guys, we thought
Which
for a
guys?
special event we'd do invite a couple of guests on. So Ryan down the bottom there. Hi, Ryan.
Hi.
Ryan.
Ryan's coming
Hi,
in
guys.
from Ryan's coming in from Japan. As you can tell, he sounds Japanese.
Yes, by way of Australia.
Just to clarify, it is no longer Halloween in Japan. Ryan
No,
is a
it's-
fucking trooper. He is up
Yeah.
in the early morning
like
hours
9
drinking
a.m.
with us and talking about horror movies.
Yeah, drinking Japanese strong beer and yeah, getting ready for the morning and the day. After this is going to be just a wonderful train wreck of a day. I'm thinking I'll just go caroling around the streets of Tokyo and just get the
God,
Christmas.
take video.
No
Take
nap
video.
required.
Just, do you want anything you want to tell us about yourself before we move on to Marcus?
Sure. Well, Dave and I have known each other, 20 years?
Yeah,
we
something like
worked in theme parks back in Australia and made a couple films together, which I hear is one's going to be redeemed pretty soon. I really hope not, because that's
That was some early work. Let's just leave it at that.
yeah.
Someone listened to our podcast last week. Thank you so much, Ryan.
Yeah.
No, I skipped to the parts where you're talking about this week, so I could hear
That's
my
right.
name on. Yeah.
You control F'd the podcast. That's right.
It's all about you, Ryan. It's all about you.
When you see that one Japanese listener, that's me, guys. So I'm
That's okay.
episodes
Yeah,
behind,
actually,
but, you
quick
know.
shout out to the 8 guys in Lithuania who are listening to us.
Woo.
Hopefully
Yeah,
live.
God.
Lithuania
I'm
love.
Lithuanian, so it's good.
Yeah. Anything else?
Well, yeah, no. I, as I said, I work in theme parks. I produce and direct and write entertainment, live entertainment, and occasionally like to get into the filming side of things. But I'm not as dedicated as I think the three of you guys are. But big fan of the show. Yeah, and I'm dedicated enough to be drinking at 9 a.m.
9
in the
a.m.
morning. So, yeah,
It's awesome.
This
man.
is
Thank
true
you
love.
so much, dude.
All right.
Glad you're
and,
here, dude. Thank you.
Down the bottom there on the right, we've got Marcus standing by, chomping at the bit. He's ready.
Thanks for having me.
You actually
yeah.
this is a big day for you. You dropped a trailer at midnight last night, didn't you?
Yeah,
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Yes,
Fuck yeah.
we did. Yes, the Dark Offerings. We dropped it, which is a film that we shot during quarantine, which you helped on, Mr. Dave.
Yes. Yes, he was
Um,
there.
And
That was fun.
You're also doing post on it. So yeah, we shot it completely in quarantine during the pandemic when it broke out, and this is the first time anyone's actually seen any footage of it. And we also revealed our secret horror icon, Mr. David Howard Thornton from Terrifier, the Art the Clown himself. So yeah,
Sweet.
People got excited about that.
You had an article in a film magazine recently, right?
Yeah,
yes,
Fangoria.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Fangoria magazine, which
The
is like
film
a
magazine
horror
of
dreams.
film magazines. Yes.
Exactly, it's like a dream come true for all that, Yeah, no, we have a full article in there in the COVID cinema section. Michael Gingold wrote us up, which was really awesome.
Congrats, man. That's
Cool.
fucking
Thank
huge.
you, guys.
That's
Thank
really
you.
That's
cool.
amazing.
All right. Well, just
Movies!
to movies. Just a quick thing to quote a Scream movie. Do you have a favorite scary movie, Ryan?
Oh, geez. My favorite is The Shining. Yeah,
The Shining.
for sure.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
choice. It's a good choice. Marcus,
Thank you, John.
Oh, Evil Dead 2, hands down.
Evil Dead 2. I knew you were going to say that.
Is this? Oh wait, just to clarify, is this our favorite scary movie, or is this the thing that fucked us up?
No.
for life? Are
This
we-
stuff. This is their
Okay.
favorite scary movie. So, what we're going to talk about just
Okay.
amongst ourselves quickly is because it is Halloween, and we're doing all horror films tonight. So, what horror film did you see that fucked you up for life? What fucked you up for life, guys? John?
Probably anything David Lynch has ever made, which I know he's not like traditional horror, but he gives me nightmares. Inland Empire disturbed me quite a bit. I still have trouble thinking about rabbits, so that fucked me up. But if I'm going to be honest, the thing that hit me as a child was Event Horizon, dude. I saw that when I was a kid, and that movie scared the shit out of me, dude. I've seen it since then, and it lost some of its power as I got older, but that movie fucked me up when I was a kid. I should not have been allowed in that movie
I've
theater.
seen that like 8 times, and I can't tell you how it bloody ends. Like,
With his fucking head when he's like, it's me, and it's just like right before she wakes up, and he's, it's terrifying. Anyway, Event Horizon, that's me.
Jeff?
This is true. I had nightmares a lot when I was younger. Movies were just so real to me, man.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I'm trying to think of what the first one was. It was probably
Yeah, why not?
the first one was definitely Ursula, the mean, scary witch, for sure. And no, I would say I saw Jurassic Park at a latchkey in YMCA when it was dark, and my
Nice.
parents were coming to pick me up, and that definitely messed me up. The guy with the guy with the dinosaur looking at him when he's on the loo.
Oh,
just
yeah.
gets blown over for sure. Shining fucked me up. The one that really sticks out though is the creaky knee brace from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, I believe.
Ooh.
When I was young, just that sound effect of that creak, and you never knew which side it was coming from. That was definitely something that at night I would hear a creak.
Yeah.
And I'll also shout out the Sixth Sense. Really made it hard to pee as a child at night. It really did.
Cool.
Like if
Oh,
you had to
yeah.
get up to pee, it literally was like.
Also, Jeff's
ghost
look
chick
aside.
walking by your door.
Yeah, Jeff's side look there. I should warn everyone: if you do die during this podcast, we are going to keep going.
Yeah,
so-
we're here.
So
It's
yeah,
possible.
somebody on Facebook just dial 911 or something, or whatever the number is in Japan.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we actually
999.
we actually need you. We need
Yeah.
you all.
So mine was a film called Demons.
Love Demons.
Yeah, it fucked me up big time. I can't even tell you why. It was something about the makeup. It was something about the performances. It just I saw it way too young as well, so it fucked me up. So Ryan,
Nice, dude.
I loved horror films as a kid. So I used to go on a little story. I used to stay at my grandparents every Friday night, and in Australia at midnight on Friday nights, they used to play totally out of order, but the Friday the 13th films and Freddy and the Halloween films. So I got super obsessed. But actually, the thing that fucked me up as a kid was not a film. It was War of the Worlds by the Jeff Wayne. The musical or
I remember that.
record.
Yeah.
Man, that used to give me nightmares. I used to stay up till 4 a.m. and listen to that, and it used to fuck me up. So
That's
I rediscovered that recently. But another one that I saw too young was Return to Oz. That just sticks out as a film that just psychologically just messed with me. So yeah,
Nice, dude.
Yeah, there you go.
Hell yeah.
Sweet. Marcus, what fucked you up for life?
Oh, many things. But one of them, but One of them was definitely Salem's Lot. That fucking kid
Ooh.
tapping on the window.
Oh, yeah.
That's- That messed me up, and I will never forget
That's
because
a
my
fucking
parents.
terrifying image.
Oh
The
yeah,
movie
oh
one,
yeah.
right? With Christopher Walken. They've made like 2 or 3 TV versions. You talking about the movie with Christopher Walken?
No. I'm talking about the one with Jeffrey Lewis and
Jeffrey Lewis. Yeah, excuse me.
yeah,
I was thinking of
yeah.
Dead. Yeah.
Yeah,
Confused
so-
Jeffrey Lewis
The
with
original
Christopher
movie.
Walken.
No, actually.
Drink. Yeah.
Well, fucking Stephen King is Chris Walken in Dave.
Dead
when he
Zone.
sees the future. Dead Zone. Thank you. Dead
Yeah.
Zone. Thank
Dead
you. Sorry.
Zone.
But Salem's Lot did it, that window thing.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters 2 with the train sequence. That messed me up as a kid. I was not a horror fan as a kid. And then most of all I didn't even watch the film. It was a friggin' trailer for Child's Play 2. I saw it on TV.
Oh.
I was so petrified. And my father thought it would be a very funny joke to get like a doll, put it in my closet while I slept. And we had a karaoke machine. And when he heard me wake up, he was outside the door with like the thing. He just goes, "I'm gonna get you, you little bastard!" and I screamed. I had to sleep with both dogs for like most of my childhood because of that. So, yeah.
Wow.
Dude, fuck yeah. Any one of us who had the My Buddy doll? Or does anybody remember that fucking
I do.
doll? It's like the Chucky doll, dude. Like, what the hell? They knew exactly what they were doing. And its
Yeah.
eyes would like open when it like laid its head back. Terrifying. Yeah.
My
that shit-
buddy and me.
Oh,
God.
fuck yeah.
Cool. All right.
Nice.
So I guess maybe we've got to know each other. It's time to move on to the.
We got some movies to talk about.
we got some movies
Let's
to
talk about movies.
Yeah,
We-
tonight.
yeah.
Tonight
That's
we're
why
doing.
we're here?
Yeah.
We had to watch movies?
Yeah, I hope you watch the movies. Otherwise, you're going to be faking this for about 2 hours.
I don't
we're-
have a
People
TV.
on here.
We are
Just
doing.
and also just to preface, you can comment in the chat, by the way. So anybody
yeah.
who wants to comment, we're watching this live too. So if you guys want to give us some love, if you're watching it on your TV because you have a smart TV, or if you're watching it, or you can type it in. You can heckle us. That's totally fair play. You will get buzzed.
Yes.
Shout out to
Yeah, feel free to interact.
shout out to Barossa and Dasein as well. Are we doing that? No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ryan, throw into the shout outs. Go, John.
Sure, gotcha. It has nothing to do with me, but all for you.
Yeah.
Is there a way for us to see who's watching, like you could on an Instagram live? Do you know? Does anybody know?
Nope. I don't know.
I don't know. If
No.
Facebook
I know this
does
is the
that.
first time we've done this. Like we might not even be live for all I know.
No, we're live. We're live because I really
live.
thought I X'd it out. I went silent for 5 minutes because I thought I X'd the whole thing out. I thought Dave ran it, but I, with my admin status, just came in and just Godzilla that shit, and that's not true. We're good. We're still live.
Eric just popped up online here. He was taken to see the
There he is.
Exorcist. as a
Eric, what's up,
very-
Roush?
He's taken to see the Exorcist as a very young boy at the drive-in. What
Yeah.
the fuck is wrong with parents?
Yeah.
Why
don't
would
do
you
that.
do
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I would totally do that if I had kids, dude. You know you would too. Come on.
Oh no, seriously, just like Eric, your parents.
Fuck yeah.
I don't want to
That is
say it,
right,
but
man.
like when the day that I have kids, 3 years old, they're watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original. I don't give a shit.
Yes!
The
The sound effects. Shout out to the sound effects department. You know they were
Oh.
nominated for shit, and you know that they know what they did.
Oh
Rickety
God,
knees.
yeah, they traumatized half a nation.
right, Jeff.
Anybody who's in the woods is just waiting for that.
Jeff, what the fuck are we talking about tonight, dude? Catch us up
Oh
here.
my gosh. Are you really going to make me introduce all 4 of these movies really quick?
Yeah, I wrote it down.
You're so
it's
good
really-
at it, dude. I mean, you're so
Okay.
good. Like-
First things first, we were deciding which movies to talk about. For Halloween, we talked about doing maybe bracket style, but we didn't want to change our format too much, all right? So we are going to do a deep dive on 4 films,
We didn't
all
want
right?
to change our format too much, but we did an entire fucking live broadcast. So, yeah.
That's right.
Freaky.
We only wanted to go live. Oh, we
John, behave yourself.
are talking about first the debut of future film star Johnny Depp in A Nightmare on Elm Street. And don't worry, everybody, Johnny Depp got better.
Yeah.
That is right. This is his feature film debut. He's 21 years old. But anyway, this is Wes Craven's basically 3rd big hit film, 4th. You guys would know better than me. He'd already done House on the Left and The Hills Have Eyes. were his big ones. But here he is in his 40s, traumatizing high schoolers with A Nightmare on Elm Street. That is first. Second, we are going to be talking about Candyman?
Candyman.
Second,
Yeah,
no,
that's
second,
Neon-
second, we're gonna do Neon Maniacs.
All right, Neon Maniac.
Marcus,
Yeah,
tell us about Neon.
Maniacs.
Marcus brought Neon Maniacs to the party. Tell us about Neon Maniacs. But just before you do, a couple more people have weighed in on the horrible parents category. David here says I was an adult and it was the movie Alien. That's fair.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
fair.
Well done.
And Atif Salim has popped in and said it was the cover of It in the video store.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Yeah, that's no. I'll get you. Yeah,
Georgie.
I mean, it's a clown. It's going to get everyone.
Oh my god.
Thanks, guys.
Alright.
Thanks. Keep it coming.
Yeah, please weigh in.
So, Marcus, tell us about Neon Maniacs.
Neon Maniacs. So Neon Maniacs is a Halloween tradition for me ever since I found it randomly in a Best Buy way back home, and every year I watch it. And it's one of those films that really doesn't make too much sense, and it's because the production got shut down halfway through because they ran out of money, and then they tried to shoot an ending, and then he never did. But it's basically about these maniacs, slasher creature things that live under the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco that come out at night when cards are put out and fishermen are going fishing underneath the bridge for some odd reason.
That's
That's
all we
the
need to
whole
know.
story. That's all we need to do. We'll come back.
Such
We'll
a
come back to
linear
it. We'll
storyline.
come back to
Yeah.
it later.
It's not confusing already. Yeah.
Then we're going on to the movie that was my
Candyman.
number 2 for fucking me up for life
Candyman?
as a kid. That was Candyman, the
Yeah.
original, because they unfortunately haven't got around to releasing the remake yet.
But it's exciting. The new one looks pretty exciting.
It does.
It does.
Yeah.
Coming out 2021.
Yeah.
And
I
Tony
mean,
Todd's supposedly in it. I just found this out last night.
That's great.
Yeah.
I mean, just get him to do the voiceover. I could listen to that guy all day.
Yeah, man. It's like
Yeah.
Shakespeare.
And then
Oh, totally.
then we're gonna finish it up with sorry, Jeff, I stole your segment. We're gonna finish
Jeff, can you introduce all four? Fuck it, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. Jeff, you want to do the last one? You want to do the last one?
Okay, everybody, we always do our redemption of the week, which is, was it really that bad? Now, it's so great that I get to talk to you guys eye to eye here, because here's the thing. This is a drinking game, right? So anytime we say something negative about a film, we have to drink. Well, we save our redemption film for the end, because ideally we will have been drinking a lot over the course of an hour. If you've ever listened to our podcast, you are definitely aware that we have no idea what we're saying by the end of this podcast. So half of the episodes, we don't know how to wrap it up. I can't remember what we're doing next week. I can't remember
So
what today is or
regrettable.
yesterday.
Texting
It's so
each other
great.
the next day. We're
It's
like,
really
oh my
fun.
god.
Yeah.
Should we
So-
cut this?
We are hoping and yet not expecting that everybody stays put for the entire time. Tune in about an hour when we start getting loopy and we talk about Jason X. Why is it X?
Woo.
Because it's 10.
Yeah.
X
It's
for 10.
the 10th
Jason
film
X.
in the it's the 10th film in the franchise.
Yeah.
It's the 10th film in the franchise. It's a tight hour and a half, and it is, I shit you not, Jason in space in the future.
Yes.
It is
Jason Voorhees is in space in the future. Who is he terrorizing in the future?
You'll find out.
have to
Yeah,
listen to
you
us
will
to
find
find
out.
out. It
All
is
right.
so great. The
Jesus
hockey mask is
fucking
there,
Christ,
people.
dude.
We'll see you. Was it really that bad? I don't know. You have to tune in to find out. But first, we have to talk about A Nightmare on Elm Street, unless
All right.
anybody has anything they want to get off their chest before we dive into this.
Nope.
I think we
so
should do
if,
it, dude.
If anyone's not familiar with A Nightmare on Elm Street, just have a look at this.
The kids of Elm Street don't know it yet, but something is coming to get them.
There's something out there, isn't there?
You could just see cuts happen.
What did that, Lieutenant?
I don't know. What the coroner got to say?
It's in the jar and puking since he saw it.
They're gonna kill me for sure.
Did you do it?
There was somebody else there.
He was locked in a room with a girl who went in alive and came out in a rubber bag.
No one knows where it came from or who it will visit next.
Nancy? There's something wrong with you. You're imagining things.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Do you believe in the boogeyman?
No.
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
She's the only one who can stop it. If she fails,
I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy.
no one will survive. From Wes Craven, director of The Hills Have Eyes and Last House on the Left, a new masterpiece in fantasy terror, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh. Woo! There we are. Are we live? Is our audio on? This is happening? Oh my
Actually,
gosh.
it's really funny. My wife just logged in and she's like, "God damn it! I tried to tune in the podcast and you played that trailer."
Yeah.
Is she trolling us?
Therese,
troll us.
She hates
Therese, heckle
Nightmare on
us.
Elm Street. She saw it as a kid, and she like apparently watched it through like pieces of her grandmother's like blanket. Like it was it messed her
Yeah.
up. Like I put this movie on and literally the first thing she said was, "No, bed is safe. Fuck him," and left the room and doesn't come back. That's it's like,
He's in the zeitgeist. Do it,
All right,
Jeff.
so Nightmare on Elm Street, people. The monstrous spirit of a slain child murderer seeks revenge by invading the dreams of teenagers whose parents were responsible for his untimely death. Written and directed by Wes Craven, co-starring our friend John Saxon from Enter the Dragon.
John Saxon and everything else in the universe. He's got like 197 acting credits.
Dude,
I don't know that
yeah.
off the top of my head. I made a note, but yeah.
Black Christmas.
Yeah, we do not fact check here. And then of course this is the story. This is the origin story of Freddy Krueger. Yada yada yada. Johnny Depp's first movie. Okay, what else to say about this? I made Chloe watch this, and here's what she said.
Oh, how'd that
This is-
go?
This is one of two Chloe quotes from the night.
I love it.
Yes, that's what I'd do. If someone was coming for me, I'd grab my crucifix. That's a Chloe quote.
I mean, that's appropriate for this and Neon Maniacs, really.
Yeah.
And then she says at the end, he doesn't look that upset that his wife is gone. That is a knock on John Saxon's acting ability.
I mean-
so for that, Chloe gets a buzz.
He walks out. He walks
that,
out
Chloe.
of that room so quickly. As soon as she's like, "I'll be down in a second." He's
She's like,
"About
okay,
face."
I'm just. He basically says, okay, honey, I'm glad you're safe. And then it's like, but
she kinda
mom's
waves.
gone. Okay, wait, hold on. No.
Whoa,
We're getting
no
ahead of
alimony.
ourselves.
Yeah.
We're
She
getting
kind of
ahead
waves
ourselves.
though. She's like,
We
oh.
need to give context. Our humble followers here may have not just watched this last night, like us. Let's just say it opens with a really good welding lesson, right? It teaches you how to make blades for your hands. So anybody who wants to be Wolverine and doesn't have it built into your anatomy with the healing powers, just watch the opening to Nightmare on Elm Street. And then it turns
It's
out
like those epoxy resin videos that you see on Facebook at 3 a.m. in the morning. You're like, oh, I'm gonna make glove.
and you wonder, like, how has YouTube kept this up? And it's like, have you ever wanted your fingers to be knives? Here you go. In 10 minutes and 8 seconds.
But wait,
Anyway,
there's more. No, fuck, we already gave you the knives. Yeah.
That's it. Freddy
The
Krueger.
salad.
The best part about this is that I forgot the title and I didn't watch I didn't read the description before I watched it. So I opened this and I was like, why is a girl running around in her nightdress in a boiler room? Why is this happening? Why is she? I actually thought it was an electrical plant. I was like, why is she in an electrical plant at midnight in a nightdress? And of course I'm like, oh, it's a nightmare, of course. So it is cool. It's coming. This is 1984. So I would say, and you guys would know better than me, this is like prime / the early middle of prime for this weird era of horror films where the sound effects can be unrealistic and the visuals can be wild, but it's okay. Like your fantasy goes there and it doesn't have to be picture perfect. It can very obviously be the camera just upside down that they flip and the blood splatters on the ceiling and somehow gravity on the ceiling keeps that liquid really
Just
tight to
staying
the
there.
ceiling.
The 80s and 90s took some liberties with that sort of thing, and you really,
But it's great
really
because
love it for it.
it's
Yeah, thank
sloppy
God.
and it's messy and that's great. Because nowadays you look at something that's polished and you're like, that shit doesn't check out. But when you watch this movie, you're like, fair play, go get him, Wes. Anyway, I've talked long enough. Who should we go to first? Should we go to one of our special guests first?
Well, let's.
I guess.
This
Yeah,
was.
John
let's
always
announce
asks his
first.
question.
Let's announce first that this was our pick. So we basically, for anyone who's listening, we let Ryan and Marcus each pick one for our serious talk about something we think is kick-ass. Marcus picked Neon Maniacs, Ryan picked Candyman, and then Jeff and Dave and I picked A Nightmare on Elm Street. So
Old school.
why did we pick that, you guys? I mean, is it just like
Because
the
I had
most
seen
classic horror
Halloween.
movie ever, or do we
mean,
all love this?
I think
or-
it's like it's a great film, and also a lot of people know it's well made. It's Wes
Yeah.
Craven really was a master of his art. Like he has so many fantastic horror films that came out, but it's like not just that. It's like Robert Englund took this and fucking ran with it and made a franchise, a TV show, quotes galore, memes, you name it. He's still making cameo appearances. He was on the Goldbergs a couple of years ago for a Halloween episode as Freddy Krueger. Like it's now just famous, and it's a cult following, but it's also made millions and millions of dollars. This turned New Line around. They were going bankrupt until this dropped and earned 3 times, I think, what its budget was in its opening weekend. And so they started referring to New Line as the house that Freddy built.
Wow, oh, dude, I didn't know that. That's cool.
So yeah, it's a classic, and it's also well made, and it kind of like, okay, some of the effects are a little dated now, but it really it holds up.
There is a
Yeah, I also-
disparity on the effects in this film. There are some that are just absolutely brilliant, and some like shots that you're like, how did they do that in the 80s? And then there are shots like Mum at the end going through the window, that you're like, or even just Mum going into the bed and giving the Tales from the Crypt wave to Dad. Remember? I do want to go back a little bit. So I must have missed this, but was John? I thought that John Saxon and the mum were divorced because
Yeah.
he's clearly never home.
Yeah, I thought they were separated.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's why I was okay with his acting when he's
Okay.
like, "See you, bitch."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't pay you
just
money
like how
anymore.
he,
Bye.
like-
Yeah.
I just like how he
I
slams
missed
the
that,
door
dude.
in the other cop's face. Like the other cop's like, everything all right? Bam, just shuts the door right in the guy's face.
I love.
There's a deleted scene where the cop, you know how Nancy's like screaming out the window, going, "Get my dad!" There's a deleted scene where the cop actually goes inside the house where Johnny Depp's just been like turned into liquid form, and says, "Oh, your daughter wants you across the street," and he's like, "Don't tell her I'm here," and the cop literally says, "She just saw you come in." I'm like, gee, I wonder why they deleted that scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody wrote a
that.
continuity error into the film.
That's brilliant.
This is one of those movies though, right? That like growing up in the video store generation, when you were a kid and you walk into like the horror section and you're looking at all
Yeah.
the covers of the videos, like Freddy was in my mind, in my zeitgeist before I ever saw these movies. You know, and then maybe you saw some like TV cut versions of these when you were growing up, but this is I think a perfect example of Jeff what you were saying, like the 80s especially, when we get into these thrasher kind of campy horror movies that just exploded with success. This might be one of the quintessential examples of when you go back and watch the originals and you kind of understand like why did it blow up the way it did. This is a perfect example of why something like this could blow up. It has legs. They obviously created a character and an ending to this movie where like, okay, we're going to have Freddy with us for quite a while. But it's also enjoyable to watch. It's not only campy. It's not only has elements of like cheese in there, and it's not only terrifying either. Like it was as much fun to watch now as I bet people had when they first saw it. And I know Wes Craven was still kind of not finding his footing. He was already very successful, but
Yeah.
he was probably sitting on the throne already as the king of horror at this time. But I mean, I think this changed the game for what people thought they were going to be able to get away with in terms of creating a franchise of horror.
Wasn't Last House on the Left that he directed hailed as having one of the most morally bankrupt scenes ever put on film?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
As well,
critics
so, yeah.
fucking destroyed it.
Yeah.
And that was 72. And then Hills Have Eyes was 77, just giving you a little bit of him. This wasn't until 1984, so like he had been on the map for a while. So like all these fucking teenage kids. I remember when Scream came out. We all felt the same fucking way when that came out. Like we just
I
could
mean,
not
that
wait
opening
to go
scene freaked.
Yeah,
It fucked everybody out. That opening scene.
So you just could not wait to go see what the like. You felt there's something about going to see horror movies, especially when people actually went to go see movies, you know, and I think people still do that with horror movies, where you kind of want to be a part of a group of people that is going to watch depravity. You want to see something gross. You want to see something fucked up, and you want to feel fucked up with everybody else. And hopefully you'll be able to laugh about it as well. And I think this movie does all of that just perfectly.
Hell yeah.
You know what else they do too, which is great, is in all of these horror movies. I watched Halloween a couple weeks ago, and then all the other movies we watched. They put really attractive people in this movie, and for some reason, it just makes you. It makes it totally okay for like shit to happen to them. Chloe.
I don't know whether to buzz that or not.
Chloe was Sandy in Greece on Royal Caribbean, so she knows Greece very, very, very well. And very early in this movie, she says, "I think this movie is if Kaniki was the lead of Greece and he sexually assaulted Frenchie." Because that was like the first guy to die. It's like very rapey at the beginning. And the guy is so over the top.
Really
also,
is.
he tackles the shit out of Johnny Depp in that scene. They're just trying to in all these horror movies, they always have these fake scares where you think it's the killer. And they tackle the shit out of each other. He comes out of a bush. Like if that happened to me, I would think I'm dead. I would think I'm dead. I would assume I'm dead.
Also,
anyway, it's very rapey, and to the morally corrupt thing that you're talking about. Yes, and of course, that guy dies first. So it's one of those things where it's like he knows whether or not it's okay or not to watch 40 years later. He knows that it was rapey, and he knew that he had to die because you couldn't have that guy around for too long.
Yeah, but Jeff, I think you're onto something. Marcus, talk to me about what he's talking about, dude. You're like a fucking horror connoisseur. Like, what is up with this formula of hot people and sex and violence in these movies? Does it make
Jason
it
X
okay
is coming
for
up.
us
It's coming up in
to
Jason
watch?
X.
Like, is it necessary for us to want to watch these fucking hot people die? Is that part
There's
of
not
it?
a single normal looking person. They're either the hottest person in the world or like a 400-pound cop. There's nothing in between.
In all honesty, like the shortest version answer is that, like, especially like in the 70s and the 80s, sex sold. You know what I mean? You had to fill your film with beautiful, sexy people. And I think it was Roger Corman that said, you know, if you don't put nudity in the first 20 minutes of your film, because if you do, people will watch the first 20 minutes, see, you know, the nudity, and then they'll leave and get their money back. So you got to put it in past the point where they can make past the point where they can return it. And then you do that. But I mean, it's also like I think it's also kind of like if you're instantly attracted to someone, you're kind of like rooting for that person because you don't want them to die. You know what I mean? Like, and also back in the 80s, especially as a teenager, when like, you know, nudie magazines and all that stuff wasn't as available. In a horror film, you always kind of were hoping that like someone would take off their clothes or whatever like that. So it's like one of those kind of things. I mean, and especially with Wes Craven's history with his films, like there was, you know, there was always like, oh, anything was on the table. Like you did not know. Like, I mean, Hills Have Eyes is one of those films, you know, and I think when it comes down to something like Nightmare on Elm Street, like Nightmare on Elm Street had some beautiful people, but I also think it is, I've always said this, it's the most fucked up concept I've ever heard of in my life. What do your parents tell you? Don't worry, it's fake. When you go to sleep, you'll dream beautiful dreams and you'll be fine. This movie's like, guess what?
No, you won't.
Your kids aren't fucking sleeping because he can kill you in there. And if he kills you in there, you're fucking dead and mommy can't help you. Have fun, enjoy. And like, it's like I just picture parents in the 80s being like, fuck you, Wes Craven. Like,
no, it's a terrifying concept.
Oh yeah. You know,
I mean, we've all fallen off a cliff or whatever. Like no one has actually been. I don't know. I've never been chased by Freddy Krueger in my dreams.
I never watched them as a kid.
Yeah,
I was always too afraid because of the concept. And by the time I saw, I saw Nightmare on Elm Street when I was older. I just loved the film. It creeped me out, but it was part 3 has always been my favorite of the series.
Oh, that's when they started to work a little comedy into it. So yeah, it's
But it's also Dream Warriors
because he's not super funny. I mean, in this one.
He's not super funny. No, part 1 was more of a serious like horror scare flick.
Which is the one that
part 2 was just terrible.
I love part 2.
Which is the one that ends with him like cutting up the nun, and it like pulls back through the walls, like the camera pulls back.
Part
and you
5.
see him.
That's part 5.
Yeah, because that's
saw
his
that when I
like
was a
son
kid.
or something like that.
That messed me up. It's his son.
The
That's so
Dream
good.
Child.
I had that shirt, man. I wore that shirt till it died.
I mean, fun fact. Also, Robert Englund only had 7 minutes of screen time in this movie.
Yeah. He hardly says anything. If you really
Wow.
quantify what he says, it's just catchpasses in this, and not even the funny ones like the Wicked Witch of the West.
Yeah,
And your
no,
little souls, too.
I mean, apparently when they first making it, they were almost just going to use a stuntman in the makeup, and then once they started working on it, they were like, okay, maybe we need an actor for this, and that's when they got England, and it was like the best decision ever.
I mean, that first appearance, well, the first one in the boiler room, I guess, but when he's in the neighborhood now when her dream's right outside the home, and he's just like standing there with his, like fucking knife hands or whatever. I mean, so now there's two different, you're basically compounding people's fears, which is basically being trapped in what is kind of it's alley-like. Like it feels like there's no escape with just a very clear cut killer, dangerous person. And nightmares. So you have two things layering on top of each other too. I imagine seeing that first thing where he's just laughing and coming after her, and the bloody, and not the bloody face, the boils on his face. I imagine that was terrifying to see in the theaters, which is fun. Is it weird though that we have to agree, all of these movies, but we can focus on this one. They're fucking hilarious too. I mean, Freddy dives through a front door face first, like he's sliding into home. He literally fucking dives through a door. Also,
how would you dive through a door? Maybe.
How would I would go through the window. I would at least try to go through the glass.
I mean, that was definitely. There's a couple of tight fits in this movie.
Yeah.
Also, she does a full guys. She calls her dad, John Saxon. First things first, she calls him and says, "You're gonna be there in 20 minutes, right?" And he goes, "Yes, for like 5 minutes." And then he hangs up the phone and he goes, "There's no fucking way I'm going over there in 20 minutes." But also, so she has 20 minutes to catch Freddy Krueger in her dream. She does a full Home Alone.
Yes.
Full Home Alone.
She sets up brick wire. Yeah. She sets up the thing, and then she talks to her mom. And then she falls asleep and she says, I only have 10 minutes left. In 10 minutes? She does a full Home Alone
Booby
in 10
trap
minutes.
the house.
That's
in
my
10
favorite
minutes.
thing.
That's
She's on my
gunpowder.
apocalypse team.
She's awesome. I mean, she's resourceful. That's like, but my favorite shot of the film is because I'd forgotten all about the Home Alone part, and I was like, "This is brilliant." She's got shotgun shells, putting it into a light bulb. I would never think of that.
Where did she get the shells?
She's military level, like Marine level trained. But she pulls the tripwire, and I was like, she has to pluck it. It's not a tripwire if she doesn't pluck it. And boom, like a guitar string. There it is. I'm like,
everything you
Guys,
wanted. So
I lost my AirPods today. I was looking for them for 30 minutes, and they were in the fucking chair I was sitting in when I realized I lost them. And it took her 10 to set a tripwire.
you totally would have died, dude.
Yeah.
Freddie
Freddie got you.
I would have said, "Dad, get me in 20 minutes."
We just
and then
had
fucking
a
pick me up, and I'd still be in the room.
The music is definitely
Underneath that part specifically, the music underneath that part is like the Home Alone sound. So basically, Home Alone just copied A Nightmare on Elm Street. Let's
pretty
be real.
much. Yeah, it's like let's tone it down for kids. It's like PG Deadpool. Yeah.
One thing here with Nancy setting up the house as like a full booby trap. Her mum is tanked. She's so drunk at this point. She's just drinking straight vodka. Was this a good idea, Nancy? You're putting gunpowder in and tripwires around the house. Mum, the house is just going to blow up, and Freddy's going to be like, "All right, what's the next street
I
along
want to
from
see
Elm
that
Street?"
her mom in.
Yep. Nancy, not thinking it through.
I get up when I'm drunk. I get up and walk around the house like you wouldn't believe, bumping into everything. That house is gonna
That
blow.
shot of her mom when she pulls that bottle out, that thing tips 180 degrees. I mean, that thing is straight up and down. Dave,
Actually, we just had a question come through, and I'll probably throw this to Marcus. It inspired a slew of teen horror films. What did Nightmare on Elm Street inspire that you can think of?
I mean, Nightmare on Elm Street has, all those slashers really just inspired like a slew of them. From like 19.
It was definitely a shared network.
Oh yeah, we got 35 slashers, different slashers from 1980 to 1982, and like the list is ridiculous. I was watching a video and it just listed them all, and I was like,
Holy
holy
shit.
shit. And it's actually the reason why Halloween 2 is so much more gorier, is because all these other films had come out, and all they kept doing was upping the gore and upping the gore and upping the gore. And Nightmare on Elm Street was one of those films that kind of like came out, everyone went nuts. You know, there's so many different, you know, I mean, like, it just kind of steamrolled all of these films. You know,
I feel like in straight up terms, like in like mainstream terms, it peaked at Hostel. Like they ramped it up until they peaked at Hostel, and then it kind of went away. Saw and Hostel kind of capped it out.
Everyone was like, that was too far.
Yeah, Hostel was definitely too far.
That was the limit. That was a lot of blood. That was fucked up.
Yeah. Well, Hostel went on for a couple more as well.
Yeah,
yeah. There's actually 3 of those ones, I think.
Yeah,
and like the third one had no money, so it was just it's interesting. But does it take place in like a casino?
Did you hear that? See that careful wording? That careful wording. It was interesting. Marcus pre-gamed this show, so he's already half tanked. So.
Yeah. So from 1980, Friday the 13th came out in 1980, right? I believe so.
Yes, I believe so. Or 1981.
Yeah, I think it was 81.
So was that kind of one of the tent poles of the beginning of this kind of thing you're talking about?
I mean, I think Halloween was. I think, you know, when Halloween came out, that
78, yeah.
Yeah, that one kind of launched everything. And then once Halloween came out, you know, people say like a lot of things about like the movie Black Christmas, which also had John Saxon in it. And fuck, man, never should have pre-gamed this, and I haven't even been buzzed yet. So.
No way. Yeah.
But really and truly, Halloween was a film that came out. It didn't really do anything the first weekend, and then word of mouth happened, and it doubled it the following weekend, and then the following weekend it doubled that, and it just kept rolling and rolling, and people were just fiending for it. And after that, it was just. We just got an onslaught of slashers that carried all the way through till the end of the 80s. And then like it died off, and then Scream brought it back. Scream, like horror was not doing good in the early 90s. Scream was the film that kind of came back. It came out, and then we got a whole new slew of slashers, but it was like, you know, the hip slashers, you know, the ones where everyone.
I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Exactly,
like
Urban Legend.
Yeah.
You know,
remakes, and then the remakes started coming right after that.
Eric just brought up Final Destination as well.
Final Destination.
Final Destination. That's great. Yeah,
I mean that's a great parallel because it's like it's
idea.
an enemy no one can see, hunting you down and killing you.
Would
I
you
do
say
love those movies.
Would you say this big wave that started with, you're right, dude, Scream totally started. Would you say it's still going on, or do you think it kind of went up through, I don't know, the 2000s? Like Saw is definitely a part of that. Like I think that's definitely in that world. It probably lasted about a decade. Do you feel like we're still sitting in it right now, or do you feel like we're in kind of a lull with horror? Because I feel like we're seeing people like Ari Aster come out with movies now that are not slashers, but we're calling those horror movies, and we're changing what we think of as horror movies now. I feel like people they're getting more dramatic.
No, totally. And like one of the things is that like slashers kind of come and go, and then they come and go, and Saw got like deemed what did they call it? Torture porn is what they started calling that. And then like basically, you know, all these other films like, you know, Teresa's, The Purge, like all these films started coming out that were just ultra gory. Wolf Creek. I loved all these,
The
but
Descent
like
got fun. It got gory at the end, I guess.
Yeah.
Descent.
The Descent's a great movie. Neil Marshall, who also did Dog Soldiers, which is one of the best werewolf movies ever made.
Yes, it is.
And oh god,
I know that one.
Yeah, I rewatched that one like recently, and it holds up so beautifully. But basically, like I think slashers have kind of went to the wayside just a little bit, with like all the ghost movies, and that's kind of starting to run its course a little bit.
Yeah, we're doing the ghost possession thing at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. But that's starting to die down, and slashers are coming back. The last Halloween broke box office records. I mean, there's so many things that it you know, you got like you know, in the indie market, you got movies like Terrifier. You've got they had another slide. They just made another remake of Black Christmas. They're remaking Texas Chainsaw Massacre again. I mean, they're remaking everything. There's talks of another Friday the 13th, but the rights are still all held up. There's so many great slashers that are starting to come out. And word is that right now is the time where slashers are going to come back. because it's kind of it's cheap to make, it's fun to make. People, you can get a really cool idea and concept very easily, and like if you can get decent actors to be in your film for slashers, they work. They're more of like concept films, a lot of them, and that's kind of what's beautiful. And I do hope they do come back. I'm a huge slasher fan, I love 70s slashers. And almost everything technically is a slasher. Like, you really want to break it down. Most horror films are.
We got the
gun.
ghost for
Look what he's
slashers.
doing.
The ghost
Come
of
on.
films.
Marcus, drink up.
You might not
Marcus,
get
we'll
buzzed
give you-
talking about horror movies, but we're gonna
we'll give you a
gush
second to bring it to a close here, so we can get back
You
on.
tricked me. You tricked me with that.
Finish your
let's
thought.
feed
Though.
him, let's
What
feed
were
him.
you saying?
No, but now I just lost my train of thought.
No, but I do want to hear you. I do want to hear you finish that though. You basically said that it's all kind of slasher movies. So you're saying that, in a certain extent, the formula of horror movies kind of requires that kind of approach, the slasher. Like there is a little bit of exploitation of that the slasher films, like, they did that so well. Are you saying that all horror movies kind of rely on a little bit of that? Is that kind of what you're saying?
In a way, yeah, because one of the number one rules, which is deemed by Joe Bob Briggs, the number one rule of any horror film is anybody can die at any time. And if you look at some of the greatest films, Psycho is a perfect example of that slasher, type of like, your big name actor gets killed off. Scream, same thing. Drew Barrymore being killed off. And I think a little bit of that it's in werewolf movies, it's in regular vampire movies, it's in a lot of like thrillers where characters you meet come along, then they get killed off.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
I think it's time for Wes to bring it back, to be honest, because I think the remakes of it was sort of exciting everybody, and then, I mean, let's be honest, A Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th remakes just did not cut it. Yeah, I'll take that.
And how dare you?
Well, yeah. I mean, you take out the best element of A Nightmare on Elm Street and Robert Englund and replace him with Rorschach. It's 9:48 a.m.
By the way,
I was
just to remind everybody, I will let you finish your thought. Just to remind everybody, we're going to wrap up A Nightmare on Elm Street soon and move on to the next film. So keep going, Ryan.
Okay,
Keep going,
yeah.
Ryan, but just to keep everybody up in pace.
Yeah, I think we moved into remake territory and it was exciting, and then it just kind of fizzled a little bit. And for me as well, I was super excited about Rob Zombie kind of taking the lead. When House of 1,000 Corpses dropped and Devil's Rejects, I was like on that train. And then the train just crashed on his Halloween.
Yeah, his Halloween is not very strong.
And
I do want
Lords
to
of
say
Salem,
I do want to say and maybe this will bring us back and we can wind it up with this. To come back to Nightmare on Elm Street, you're so right, Marcus and Ryan, about how like, what did you just say? At any point, anyone can die. Mm-hmm. This movie did it to me again because fucking Tina.
I thought Tina was
following...
Yeah, I totally thought she was going to be the...
I hadn't seen this in so long, and you're following her story, and they pull a fucking psycho, and she dies quickly, and it's immediately more fun. As soon as she dies, you're like, yes, they're not afraid to fucking kill people.
Yeah, well, they killed her in the best way possible, too. I still
that was a brutal murder, dude.
And a brilliant... How did they do that at that time? It was a killer scene.
Yeah, and also Johnny Depp lasted way longer.
Than
I remember.
I totally, I thought he died way sooner. And it was a good tactic too, just from filmmaking and storytelling, to have someone in the room when Tina dies, unable to do anything about it, and just screaming at it. Like you had a little bit of a surrogate there, and oh my god, it was just beautiful. So
that shot still works. That whole thing with it.
It's
they
awesome.
flipped that room upside down. That's
the
an
room's
indie
flipping,
film,
right? Yeah.
That was an indie film. Like that's what's mind blowing about it. It's like. It's indie. They didn't have billions of dollars with that.
And nobody knew who she was.
They used that revolving room twice.
Yeah.
Horror movies get such a rep, too, for, like, every actor, kind of is like, oh, God, am I going to have to do a horror movie to, like, get my break? Like, it may be, and I hope I have tons of fucking fun because these people are giving it 110%. That woman was going 100 on that fucking ceiling, dude. She was screaming her ass off. And you're right, it was just a rotating room, and she was going for it.
Hats off to the other guys. Hats off to the other guy as well, who's sitting there acting his ass off in the corner of the frame, strapped upside down in a chair to the ceiling.
Yeah.
Yeah, full on
That over the shoulder of
2001,
him.
like upside out.
I swore that guy was Ralph Macchio for far too long.
He did look like Ralph Macchio.
He did.
Also,
Alright.
just one quick thing. I love when they go simple on films, and when Nancy is trying to bring Freddy out and she jumps on him, and then it cuts to her struggling in the bed, and the trellis and the flowers are still in the shot, and she's flipping and flopping, and then they disappear out of the shot because she's knocked them out with the shoulders, and the camera just zooms out and they're gone, and it's such a simple thing, but it's like that was the perfect transition.
It was a great detail.
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that. That was sick.
It's just
cool.
some of the simplest filmmaking techniques in the world, and it just worked perfectly for this.
Indie filmmaking.
Yeah.
Okay, also, don't trust your doctors. This doctor.
Oh, good.
They're dreams. I don't know. If you don't dream, you're dead. We don't know what they are. And
That
it's
was
like,
the most-
dude, earn your paycheck. Lie your way through this, dude.
Dude,
And that
was the
guy's
most
Roger
exciting-
Rabbit.
He is, yeah.
He's Roger Rabbit.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And teachers always talk about Shakespeare and horror movies. Okay, great. That's it. Nightmare on Elm Street. Anybody have anything that they just need to say about Nightmare on Elm Street before we move on? And also, I want to shout out to some more of our audience responses here before we do. Yeah, but the first one really is fun. Sorry, Brian. What were you
I
saying?
feel like we see way too much of Nancy because she is underage at this point. And there is like some side boob action. There is some like. So before when you were saying like beautiful people, I'm like, we have to remember these. Hey,
Hey, Chloe.
these people are underage.
Hi, you're live on the
He's
internet.
He's getting
You're
served
live.
his usual dinner. This is what always happens, folks.
Yeah, this is what happens. This is what happens that you don't see.
We are live.
What's up, Chloe?
We're live. Wait, Chloe, can you give a one-sentence review of A Nightmare on Elm Street? This is literally the end of the segment. We watched it last
That's so
night.
good. That's so.
I
she's so
mentioned
on the spot.
I mentioned your quotes about Kaneki and Frenchie,
That
and
was-
also
yeah,
the
that was-
crucifix. You would grab your crucifix if someone was coming.
Yeah, that was weird. Also, I don't really understand the ending at all. Did anybody else understand the ending?
The ending was, how can we get a sequel, right?
Yeah,
pretty
Freddy's
much,
back. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah.
That was the ending. Yeah.
The ending was the
You nailed
dream
it.
never
I think
ended.
you got it. I think
Great.
you,
Yeah.
I think you got it.
Good.
Okay, cool.
Yay, happy Halloween.
Amazing. Oh my God. Thank you so much to Chloe for my food. Shout out to some of the audience members because we're going to dive into Neon Maniacs as Marcus is going to, set that up. And then after Neon Maniacs will be Candyman featuring Ryan Wilson. But a couple shout outs here before we get into the trailer and a tiny little break. We've got Therese Tiki Flores Green here. She says, God damn it, I tried to watch you, played that trailer, I'm out. So the trailer for Nightmare on Elm Street, as you said, Dave, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that your mom in there?
Yeah, thank you. Kathy's in here. Yeah. My mom said, when a stranger calls, 1979. I'm still scared.
Oh,
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a good one.
We've got my uncle Dave Knight. The TV show Dark Shadows scared the crap out of me, and my brother loved it. That's my Uncle Pete.
Yeah, the movie not so much.
And he said he was, but he also Alien to Dave. And he said, and I was an adult, not our friend who was a child. We shouted out Eric here. Any other ones here that I guess that's it for now.
David wants to know, is Chloe a good cook?
Is she a good cook? Do you want me to go ahead and test this out really quick?
Yeah,
Let's see.
test it out.
Chloe and Deanne made this together, and all I did was open a can of beans, and I split my finger. So literally the one thing I did, I nailed. I failed.
You bled
So
for
since it's Halloween, I don't mind showing a little blood here.
Oh yeah.
Literally the one thing I did, and then I got cooked for it. Let's see. Is it good?
blood.
This is a live show,
I recommend.
folks.
This is pretty damn good.
Recommend? All right, we'll be
This is
over.
pretty damn good.
Cool.
Friends,
Okay, let's
watch this
watch.
trailer. We need to pee
Yeah.
and grab a beer. We'll see you in 2
I know.
minutes.
Yeah.
You're telling me that these things are inside the Golden Gate Bridge. 1. 2, that they only come out at night. That they're responsible for the death of 15 or more kids and 3 of my police officers.
Let me ruin your evening. The stranger said to me, your new lover is my old
They're young.
lover. She said,
Come on, Sue, it's play.
They think they're going to live
'cause I believe
forever.
what she told me.
What are you doing? Never want to play with us. She wants to fool around.
But they're in for a terrible surprise. Now, there are 12 new reasons
over here!
To be afraid of the dark.
They're after me.
And every one of them is a killer. Introducing, in diabolical order, Axe, Hangman, Doc, Biker, Slash, Juice, Samurai, Mohawk, Archer, Soldier. These are the Neon Maniacs. They live so others may die. Neon Maniacs.
The film that never was finished.
Oh my god.
With nobody of note in it.
Are we back, Dave?
We're back. We're back.
Oh,
We're fucking
shit.
back. All right, that was the trailer for 1986 Neon Maniacs. Marcus, what the fuck is this movie? Dude? Tell me how you fucking found this movie. I had never heard of this movie.
Yeah, that's-
What secret shit? Yeah, I'll drink to that shit.
You watch this every year. Holy shit.
Every
You know the
single
you
year.
guys remember Never-Ending Story? Do you remember that? Remember how he like finds that book and the guy gives it to him? I'm imagining you in Best Buy like finding this copy of Neon Maniacs like hidden somewhere in the back covered in dust. Your
Yep,
whole life
pretty
was
much.
changed the first night you watched it. Talk to me about this movie. Give us a little context about it first of
Okay.
all. Like what the fuck? Why did it when? Why? How did it get made? Why is it compared to Evil Dead? Tell me everything.
What?
I don't know why
Why?
it's compared to Evil Dead.
Wasn't the original title like The Evil Dead Monsters? Or something like that.
something.
I found some random piece of trivia. Anyway, go for it.
The
Hit me.
trivia is very, very spotty about this film because the director is no longer with us, the writer is no longer with us, and most of the crew will not talk about this movie, nor will the cast.
Yeah, I mean, I looked on IMDb and I couldn't find Tommy Wiseau anywhere.
There's
I was about
two
to make a
pieces
Joss
of
Whedon
trivia.
Justice League joke, but
Yeah,
So
yeah.
basically, the producers just didn't pay the crew, and the crew was like, "Fuck you, we're not gonna come back." And then they took like a 2-month to 3-month hiatus. So basically, I used to work at Best Buy, and one day any new horror film at the time I would buy. So Neon Maniacs came out along with another movie called Shockwaves, with one of the most entertaining trailers ever, where they just say Shockwaves is the most shocking movie. It will shock you. And they just keep using the word shock
Wow.
100 fucking times.
shocking.
And I
Yeah,
watched
that's what
this
happens when you
film.
go to Fiverr for your copywriter.
So I basically I watched this movie, and I used to do a horror movie review website, and I'd seen a lot of shit. And this film, there's just something magical about it. It is not a perfect film at all. It's got a lot of fucking issues. It doesn't even have an ending. They literally
Yeah.
the
doesn't
Neon
have an
Maniacs are in the
ending,
school attacking everybody, and these two decide to go fuck in the chemistry lab, and then it just ends.
Yeah.
You left 2 seconds
let's-
ago. Let's bang.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let me give you just because you kind of told us at the beginning, but just in case everybody's as tipsy as we are right now, let's just go back really fast. Here's the IMDb blurb. A group of teenagers in San Francisco discover a nest of homicidal monsters living in a tower of the Golden Gate Bridge, but when they try to tell authorities, no one believes them. So that is the premise for this movie, and what Marcus is ranting about right now is the fact that you think this movie would end with some kind of showdown where the protagonists actually have to deal with the fact that no one believes them, but that doesn't happen. It doesn't
Because
have
they
an
ran
ending.
out of money.
Yeah.
It was
There
a
are
does
40
that-
people dead. A guy shot up a school, but the police still don't believe him to the bitter end. That Detective Devon, man,
He's some
God,
great.
that guy chewed
caricature.
every bit of scenery he could
Oh,
get
yeah.
his mouth on, dude. That acting was incredible.
Okay, I'll tell
That
you-
sister
okay.
stood no chance.
So this movie opens with a fantastic shot of the Golden Gate Bridge, which obviously they live under because, as you find out later, they're destroyed by water. So naturally, they would live right on the
where is the
fucking
largest
bridge.
body of water in
Yeah.
San Francisco?
So it opens with a voiceover, and the voiceover is speaking in a rhythm. And my first thought was, it's not a poem. It reminded me of "Roses are red, violets are blue." Most poem rhymes, but this one doesn't.
Neon Maniacs.
I'm trying to find it right now. What is that opening? Oh, I can't even find it. And when the children leave their souls, like, I mean, the writing of this is incredible.
Look, I mean, my favorite thing about this is it has smoother pans than Bride of the Monster. So, I'm quite happy.
Are we comparing things to a movie by Edward Jr.?
From 1955.
Is that what we've done? Okay. So all right. So keep going, Marcus. Why we said to our friend Marcus, all right, give us your favorite pick for a horror movie. We talk about good movies, and then we would try to redeem one, and he hit us with Neon Maniacs. Not as was it really that bad. I want to know, in your heart of hearts, is this a nostalgic thing because you discovered it when you were younger? Like, what is it about this movie?
Just quickly, before we said that, I forgot to set one thing up. I want to get. I brought back the X's a little bit, and I want to give everyone. We'll just flash back to Nightmare on Elm Street for a second. I want to give you a score of 1 out of 10 on how baked you should be to enjoy this movie.
Oh, this one.
No, how baked you should. Nightmare on Elm Street. How baked should you be to enjoy Nightmare on Elm Street? 1 out of 10. I give it a 1.
I'm baked every time I watch a movie. So.
Yeah, I pretty much am too. But I mean, like Nightmare on Elm Street, you can enjoy without it.
Yeah, I give it a 1.
Yes, this movie probably deserves a little more bakedness.
I gave this an 86 out of 10. So
yeah. Were you drunk when you watched this one? Were you feeling toasty?
Me? No. I was completely sober.
You watched this sober?
Yeah.
You watched Neon Maniacs sober?
Oh, yeah. Look. It starts off.
That's why I'm angry.
He just sat there sober with his notebook.
So many X's. Yeah. All right, fuck it. Marcus, hit me.
So look. It starts off super strong. Aside from that opening that makes no fucking sense whatsoever. I mean, there's cards on the ground. The guy picks them up. It's like, what are these? And then the maniacs come out and right by the wire to a fucking fisherman who's fishing by water.
The tarot maniac cards.
Yeah. And like, what do those tarot cards mean? We don't fucking know. We have no idea.
Very coveted.
That's for you, Marcus.
Yes,
they're very coveted. Those cards. If you touch them with your hands, you get killed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Could you imagine the photo shoot though of those guys posing? Like, I had so many questions. Who's taking these photos? Were they reviewing them? Because it's the 80s too. They had to go to like Kmart to print that film out. Did they get it back and be like, man, cop, you didn't look very good in this one. But the Indian, that was a killer. That was great.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. That's one of the notes I did give
Hulk, yeah.
from this movie. It's like, who exposed the village people to toxic waste?
But you gotta admit that first scene, the first like when like all the kids are like playing football, like Tommy fucking Wiseau in the park and smoking up, and like the dude's getting the blowjob in the back, and like all that, and all the Neon Maniacs come out, and they all work together as a unit. You got the guy with the lasso that like. The hanger guy that just like is hanging the kid, and then like the kid that's getting the blowjob, the girl gets her head cut off.
Yeah. He never gets the blowjob. She clearly had some problems with that belt buckle because when her head falls to the floor, well, the little piece of hair first, and then the head falls off.
I mean, the hair was a nice touch.
It was a good touch, yeah, but she wasn't touching anything.
They worked in harmony.
The football guy's just like, oh, I got this, and runs right into the
I know that
right in the noose.
He runs in between them and like dives to the ground.
You want to play rough?
Of that. All right, so I do that. I kind of want to point that out. That like technically, for anyone who's watching, I read this somewhere and I kind of agree with it. A beautifully shot horror film that is unfortunately very bad. And I thought I was like, it is good looking. Like
yeah, I mean, this is a DP who went into directing for 2 films.
Yeah,
yeah.
And I think this was the last one.
It was, yeah. It was
nice.
I called it the Toxic Avengers. It literally is.
It is. I mean,
and the Incredible Hulk is even in
New Jersey.
In its credit, like this is 80s as fuck. Like, strap your hypercolor T-shirt on and sit down and watch this.
In case you need to wonder
it's
how
worth
80s
it.
It is.
Yeah, it's worth it just for the opening credits music. I'm pretty sure I heard the fucking Doogie Howser theme in there somewhere.
It's just the two of us.
The music, dude. What is up with that R&B song
the
that keeps
two of
coming
us.
back?
Oh, what about
in the-
Baby
in the
Lie?
middle of-
They because they stretched it out at the end at the talent show with like the weird leather heavy metal band that's like screaming something for 10 fucking minutes. I have no idea what the fuck they're singing.
It's J-Dick, guys. J-Dick.
Yes, and like fucking like, and then like the other, and then, like they sing two songs, and one of them's very addicting. One of them is a good pop song, that Baby Lie song. I like that song. It's like,
I mean,
it's
yeah,
a
I was
high
gonna
point.
say, in case you need to know that this is set in the '80s, like that Battle of the Bands is ridiculous.
Yeah.
There are two styles of music in the '80s. Apparently, there is very soft, like techno pop. That guy, he's like, "Babe, I gotta go rock," and then he's like, "Do, do, 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 do,
Yeah.
do, do, do."
And we're called the Outlaws, but we are
Yeah.
we're like the lovely, the well-dressed Outlaws.
He has a whip. Doesn't he have a whip? The
No.
lead singer?
That's J-Dick. The Outlaws are his band, dressed like these suits.
The most polite outlaws
Singing,
of all time.
"You chose me," Rick Springfield style.
Yeah,
No,
just like-
he was like, "Babe, I gotta rock," and he sings a love ballad. Oh, that was fucking hilarious. That would not have sustained in my high school. We would have thrown them off the stage. But
Yeah.
whatever.
I mean,
you also gotta love the little girl too. That's very obviously 36.
Not a little
Yes.
girl. Yeah, what
Yeah.
is up? That girl, the mature face of a 30-year-old woman.
Donna Locke is who played her, but like
They
that was
made
her only film
they-
role
they-
ever, as well.
They made sure, only film role ever. They made sure, they were like, is this gonna work? I don't know. Let's just make sure in every line where someone is speaking to her, they say the word kid. Every single time someone's talking to her, they're like, "Get out of here, kid! What are you doing here, kid?"
With a question mark.
Obviously,
Get out of here, kid.
I feel like I was watching like somebody playing Anybody's in West Side Story. Like it was obviously an adult
I mean,
playing a young
the
child.
thing is, after about 40 minutes, it starts kind of settling into a little bit of, like, you get a little bit of narrative there, and it starts to settle down and
Easy,
like
Dave.
start to make some sense.
Easy.
No, it does
Yeah, the
get
word
a little bit.
narrative,
It does. That's for you.
Okay.
And
Oh my God.
but
Keep
no,
going.
it's I mean, there's certain things where it is glaringly obvious they didn't have a lot of money to make the film. Like when they get to the graveyard where they're doing the film shoot in the graveyard, and I'm sorry, but that bird in the background audio is just aggressive as fuck.
It is.
Or you can just cheap, 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 cheap. I was just a fucking pterodactyl that's hungry just off camera.
I mean, there's a lot of issues like that. There's
Yeah.
a lot of issues like that that are just. It's kind of. It's almost just unfortunate when you look back at movies like this that like there's a lot of room tones that are just way off. Like,
Well, no,
very simple.
I mean,
these have nothing to do with money. This is just like sound editing that just wasn't
It's
done well.
lazy sound editing. Yeah, it's like it's when you. What happens when your sound mixer goes, "Oh, what do I have on my hard drive?"
Sorry. How are we talking about the sound mix and
That's
sound
how
effects? This,
I almost spat my beer.
Why are we on the minutia of this? Guys, why do they call them the Neon Maniacs? Let's maybe start there. What?
Oh my god.
Well, apparently they asked him at one point, and he's like, "Well, it means new. It means new maniacs." It's like, well, it doesn't at all.
That was what they. Wait, you're reading a piece of trivia? Did they ask the director? that
Yeah,
at
they
one point
did,
or
and
something?
his answer was, "It means new maniacs," and it's like, no, it doesn't. No.
Like Neo, like
Yeah,
Neo.
no, yeah. You've is the end silent? Have we been getting it wrong this whole time?
That is the 80s. That is the 80s in a fucking nutshell right there. Let's just make it neon.
The N is
Not-
the N is
not
silent.
Yeah.
Neon.
New sounds a bit
Neon.
too rudimentary.
I mean-
let's go with neon. Yeah.
It's
Okay. I want to throw one thing in there.
Yeah.
Did anybody else pick up? There's two things in here. His mate, I can't remember his best friend's name, who's saying, you know, you should go for it, man. He bites into his hot dog on the side. If we're going to talk about sound mixing, I have to talk about this. At the
yes.
end of that scene, he bites into his hot dog. From the side, and also not that that's enough. Chewbacca in the background of the dance scene when in the Battle of the Bands.
Yeah.
Chewbacca is huge. A, and B, how did they even get the rights for that costume? But he's like mugging the whole time. Like he leans in on the neon maniac, and then he's like trying to scare people around. Just brilliant. Like all that is on celluloid and there
I did-
forever.
I did want to ask y'all because I looked up that they had to change the actor. They shut down this shoot at one point,
Yes.
right, Marcus? So they had to rehire the Maniacs. So a lot of people who were playing these characters under all this makeup and costume had to change, and they're so obviously smaller. When they come to this high school dance, none of them are taller than the high school students.
When they get to the dance, the caveman looks completely different, and it's like, did you think no one was going to notice?
Different. And they put the Chewbacca right at the entrance. So when the Indian character, whatever, Indian Native American walks in, that Chewbacca is towering over our villain. Like he's way taller. And he's like
And they
behind him.
switch out all like whenever you see them coming out of the Golden Gate Bridge, there's that giant one with like the two like weird blades that are just like this, and he's walking on. We never see where the fuck he is, but one of the biggest additions was actually Andrew Divoff as that surgeon you see only
out of nowhere.
And Andrew Divoff, to those that don't know, played the Wishmaster in 2 of the Wishmaster.
Oh, did not know that. There was an
even bigger one though.
He got work after this?
There was an even bigger cameo. Gary Busey as the war vet shooting the rifle in the school.
You're fucking kidding me.
It's not. It just looks like it is. Go back and look at him. It's Gary Busey. Just
it probably was
his fucking brother. He has a brother that looks just like him. Jeff, did you watch this movie?
Okay, no, wait.
No,
just
I
quickly before we.
We had a short week this week.
Yeah, Jeff's just in a food coma right now. No, we quickly.
Did you mute me?
Gary's given us an answer. It was the 80s. They wanted neon.
Oh no.
That's the answer to why. What? It was Neon Maniacs. It was the 80s. They wanted neon, and Eric's like, so there are no neon lights on the bridge. I don't think there are neon lights on the bridge.
I don't think there's any neon lights in the film.
No.
There's not any neon lights anywhere.
There's
That's
no neon whatsoever.
bands
It's a
probably
fucking
expensive
80s
then.
movie. This is a fucking 80s movie. There should have been neon everywhere.
Yeah.
According to
Battle of
Stranger
Bands could have
Things,
really,
according
Yeah,
to
I'm not
Stranger
gonna lie.
Things,
I'm
that's
not
all
gonna
we
lie.
had was neon.
I thought I thought aesthetically, I thought they were gonna lean into that, kind of how like Drive, kind of for no reason at all, has like colors like that everywhere, and there's a lot of like practical lighting from like neon and stuff, and I thought it was gonna be more like that, but this was shot very realistic. That's a I might not be the right word.
Okay, that's stupid. Yeah.
Get out of here, guys.
You
We're
gotta
at
love the
75
trains.
minutes. We're 2 films in. We got
No,
2 more
just
left.
what the hell?
Any
Let's go
final
for it.
thoughts?
Let's go for it. Let's keep going.
Any final thoughts we have on
Jeff, you haven't said a thing yet.
I
don't think
ate
Dave
in a
heard you.
full enchilada during this bit.
These guys
I
must
had a
like,
lot of fun.
And that
I had
sums
a lot
up
of
the
fun
movie
watching this
perfectly.
movie, and I think you should
okay.
watch it. We should call out that this movie is available to watch exclusively on YouTube.
Or DVD. You can get the DVD.
Or DVD if
Or
you
Tubi.
go to if you want to go to the Best Buy where Marcus worked as a teenager. I mean, still
This movie is on YouTube. You can watch it on YouTube right now.
Yeah.
you spent
But
$75.
a couple of things I didn't get to. As indie horror goes, this is by no means the worst out there. I can tell you that. The shots are well composed. The lighting is great for the 80s. It's a great example of what to do if you don't have a lighting budget. And that's not a slight. That's like there's some really creative
agree.
scenes where they
It was well
did
shot.
do that. But it's no Nudist Colony of the Dead. I can tell you that. It's like
Is that Halloween?
Silence.
I don't know what to tell
Drink,
you. I don't know what to tell you.
I thought it was an interesting take on the monster kind of movie thing. If we're gonna talk like tropes within the horror genre, like this is just straight up monster movie. Like you need to just know that. Like, oh, we're just gonna watch monsters come in and fuck with people's lives.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, although when they are heading for the dance, it kind of reminded me of the White Walkers from Game of Thrones. It's like, seriously, they're not fucking there yet.
I know I will say there were a lot of scenes, and when she's like coming to their lair, there were a lot of shots where I was like, they're not really letting them cover much ground. So in terms of suspense building, I think there are a few scenes where I was like, they could have made them move a little bit quicker, and I would have been a little more creeped out. But they went the other way, and they thought if we make them move slowly, these people will be more furious at this movie.
Yeah.
And
That's the
I think-
zombie
I
thing,
think the
right?
be-
They're
the
either
best-
runners or they're crawlers.
Yeah. The best question I get asked though is like, if it had the budget, if it had, just a little something, what could this have been? Like this could have been one of the hit franchises.
the
This is one of
showdown.
those
There's
ones-
no showdown. Let's end it with that, Marcus or Ryan. Somebody talk about. There's literally no ending to this. We started with this. Let's end with
Yeah.
this.
There's no ending. The police still don't believe them while they're inside their lair with torches, even though they've got floodlights out the front. Screaming.
John's gone.
Devin's lighting a cigarette, his cigar, going, just wait, guys. There's supposedly killers in here, but I just gotta light my cigar. And then they all leave, but Devin goes, you know what? For once, I'm actually going to stick around and do some cop work. And then he gets dragged into a random bus.
By a giant squid monster. By a giant, like, lizard
Yeah, by a
monster.
giant one-eyed turd monster. Yeah.
I was really well. It's a mini Godzilla. It's like Godzilla's like mini.
What the fuck is that thing in the back of that ambulance, dude? There's no reason at all. It's like
No
some
fucking
Ghostbusters
clue.
moment.
The best part of it is that there was a third act. Their third act was the middle of the film is what they end the film with. The third act is them all fighting the Neon Maniacs. But when they lost all the fucking funding, they said, "Fuck it, we're just gonna end it here." You know what? This cop's a dick. Let's just fucking let's kill him off, and that's the end of a movie. And then it's just like, you know, that music kicks back in, and it's
That
just
music
Yeah,
comes back.
that music. And
I'll say my
that's
last
that's the end of the cop.
My last comment is out of nowhere. Going with your Roger Corman truth, Marcus. That is the most forced sex scene I have ever seen in a horror movie. Where they barely make it out of the grips of a chase scene. And then he's like, I would never let them get you. And she's like, that's why I like you. And they just start doing it right in the grips of about to be killed. They just immediately start fucking on their laboratory floor. That was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the ape guy is outside. The ape guy's fucking outside, just like.
All right. We can talk about this for hours. We got to wrap this up.
Thank you.
Wrapping it up,
Marcus.
people.
Thank you.
I
Thank
just
you
think
for sharing it.
one last
you're
thing
welcome.
though. I'm really glad everybody seemed to like this a lot because guys, this is ripe for the picking, and I feel like there's 5 of us here who could grab this franchise and bring it back. There's
That
so
is
many
dream.
avenues.
I want
on.
to fucking do that. My dream is to do a fucking balls out remake of this
Astoria.
film. But here's the
Astoria.
thing.
We have the bridge.
I'm totally down for that. But this is exactly what I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna add in any sense making. We are not going to give any explanations to anything.
God
We
damn
will
it.
make it more confusing.
Only absurd.
And less neon. All right, here
More
we go,
neon.
people.
Some neon.
Yeah.
We'll have one neon
People.
light, and it'll be the end of the film. And someone will walk by neon, and that will be all the neon. There's more fucking neon behind me. Yes, neon.
Oh, silly.
All right,
All
Jeff,
right, we
Jeff,
have
Matt,
to move
Jeff,
on.
take
We
us
have-
away. Take us away.
I'm not mad, even though I didn't see this film. We need to move on. We have to do it. Coming up, you are about to see the trailer for Candyman, which was from 1992. Pretty fucking fun film. Pretty fucking fun film. Candyman, which was also remade. We'll talk about it soon. Here, enjoy the trailer. Get a refill. Let's do it!
Have you ever heard of Candyman? If you look in the mirror, you say his name 5 times.
In cities everywhere,
Candyman.
they whisper his name.
Right. Candyman.
It's just a story.
Candyman.
Candyman.
Just a ghost story.
Candyman.
An entire community starts attributing the daily horrors of their lives to a mythical figure.
The legend first appeared in 1890. He was attacked, mutilated, and burned to death. Poor Candyman.
Helen, a woman died in there. Leave it.
Everyone knows he isn't real.
That's modern oral folklore.
Everyone. Except Helen Lyle.
Bernadette. It ain't safe around here. I don't scare too easy. Wanna know about Ruthie? They ain't never gonna catch him. Who? Candyman.
Who is that?
I came for you.
Do I know you?
Now, she is about to discover
Helen? Get out! Get out!
what's behind the mystery.
I'm sick.
What's behind the legend.
Listen, he's under the bed!
And most terrifying of all, come with me. What's behind the mirror.
He's here.
to believe. Just beware.
And we're back.
We're back. We are back, people. We are back. It's weird because I'm watching the video, and the video actually has like a 10-second lag.
Yes.
All right, people. What did you miss
stop
during
doing
the
it.
break?
It's messing me up.
We laughed our ass off during the break. I was in the bathroom with my headphones on, and I just heard the words "zombie Nazis." Zombie Nazis came up over the break while I was peeing, listening to this podcast.
That's not cool.
Marcus, do you want to just give us a 10-second explanation? What are you talking about?
Shockwaves. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, it's still in
Nazi
shockwaves.
zombies.
Yeah.
Shockwaves. It will shock you.
I don't care if they're zombies. I'll still punch Nazis. Nazi zombies, I'll punch them too.
Yep, it won't work on them because they're the most shocking zombies ever. Shockwaves.
You can't
Jesus.
just punch a zombie Nazi.
Tight.
You have to take off their
All right.
eye goggles. That was what Marcus,
Yep.
he educated me. The way you defeat zombie Nazis is by removing their Nazi eye goggles. That's how you
right.
that's how you win
I
in
would
that
have
movie.
thought that.
All right, let's get it back together. I said we were going to be done at 10. I don't know if that's likely. We have to
Yeah,
get to our
it's-
redemption film,
it's-
Jason X, and I highly recommend everybody stick around for Jason X and Candyman, which is the next film we're going to talk about. We have two fantastic films coming up. Let's just do a quick recap of who we are here. Our numbers are we're in the tens of people here watching.
Yes.
I'm hoping-
Yes. Thank you,
I'm
10
hoping some
people.
will watch this.
Happy
It's just
Halloween.
Halloween.
Yeah. We're 5 of them.
Halloween. Next Halloween on YouTube. I hope we get to come back with some of these films. But let's recap really quick. John, Dave, and I have a podcast called The Love of Cinema, or The Love of Cinema Pod. You can find us on Instagram. You can also find us on Apple, Spotify, and everywhere else you get podcasts, Stitcher, etc., etc., etc. We have Marcus here, and we have Ryan here. Ryan, currently it's 10 a.m. in Japan for anybody who has joined.
Yeah.
He has changed.
Wasted.
He went from Ryan has gone from a Pierce Brosnan suit into a Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
It might
Peter
be a onesie. We
Parker,
don't know.
Oh.
Possibly a onesie, but he still has the undershirt on because he didn't have enough time for a quick change.
Didn't have enough time. Yeah, I couldn't pee. I couldn't. Yeah, look, it's been a while since
John,
I've been
Dave,
on
and I.
stage.
Awesome. John, Dave, and I used to live in Astoria together, which is where Marcus lives right now. Astoria, Queens. What's up? Marcus and Ryan work in horror films. Ryan works in live entertainment too. That's where he met Dave. Dave brought everybody together. Dave's running the show right now. He's our sound engineer and everything engineer, to be honest with you. He's also buzzing us, so we have to be kind to him.
Do we just?
If we don't-
That's for you,
No,
Jeff.
Because if we don't, it can be a total dick.
Knock him.
This all makes sense.
That's for
I'm
Marcus.
so glad you just put that in.
I think we're caught up. Let's do Candyman, people. Candyman. Out of all the
All
films
right,
we're talking
yeah.
about tonight, Candyman is the best slow burn, which opens with the
Yeah.
idea pretty quickly. It basically does a cold open. But then after that, they really lay it out. They really do the burn. And what an interesting device. The main character is researching the Candyman and whether or not it's real, which is really, really an interesting narrative device that I didn't... As soon as they did it, I went, you motherfuckers. This is really,
This is
really,
where
really, really clever.
urban legend came from, right? Like they stole
Yeah.
it.
Also, just jumping in
Pretty
quickly,
much.
Therese said she misses the bow tie already, Ryan.
Oh, sorry, Therese. Look, I'll bring it back.
God,
to
fuck you, Ryan.
redemption.
Fuck you, Ryan.
Ryan?
God.
That's for you.
Oh, God damn it.
All right.
We've abandoned
so
the
let's get-
rules.
So we are now talking about Candyman. Now speaking, now that we're shitting all over Ryan. Ryan, this is your movie that we picked up, so this is glad
Yeah.
that you're. So,
So,
1992, and
yeah.
just the basic IMDb pitch we always start with: the Candyman, a murderous soul with a hook for a hand, literally, is accidentally summoned to reality.
Is that a
by
vegetable
a
peeler?
skeptic-
How would that not be literally?
Stop heckling me! I can't. It's one sentence. It's fucking one sentence. I can't get through.
Jeff didn't say anything for the whole last
Christ.
segment, and now we're just shitting on him. This is for not
Yeah,
saying anything. Yeah.
Fuck. Welcome back, you dick, Jeff. Okay. The Candyman. The Candyman, which was definitely influenced by Silence of the Lambs in its poster design. It's basically a bee going into an eye. Doesn't matter. The Candyman, a murderous soul with a hook for a hand, is accidentally summoned to reality by a skeptic grad student who's 40, but she's a skeptic grad student researching the monsters. I'm a grad student in my 30s. There's no shame. That's not a good depiction of what Okay, who wants to go first?
Ryan.
Okay,
Ryan,
okay.
why did you pick this movie, dude? Get in
So,
there.
I'm on a little personal quest at the moment. I have this belief that everybody who's a cinema lover has just a slew of films that they haven't seen, that everybody would just assume that they've seen. So for the last since sort of the lockdown over here in Japan, I've just taken the time because there's no new films coming out, kind of like concurrent with what you guys are doing. And I've been watching all these films that I should have seen by now, and it's kind of turned into...
I've been following that.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm not reviewing as such. I'm just, as the comments come in, it's good to engage with people about it, and it's been a lot of fun. And I'm now just like basically taking recommendations or. Anyway, Candyman is one that's been on the list for a while. This has been on my list since primary school over here, over in Australia.
Me too.
Everybody talked about this film because it was like something that you did at like a sleepover. I think we all started with Bloody Mary, and then Candyman came out, and everybody was like, no, Bloody Mary's fake, Candyman's real. So I was like, yeah, saw that film. Yeah. I've seen the sequel, yeah. Never even went close to it. Did not want to watch this film. And so I thought, it's on the list. It's one that I hope would scare the crap out of me. And so I threw it up there.
This is
Plus,
number
Tony
2.
Todd is just the man.
This is number 2 on my films that fucked me up for life. Also, I should point out that David Knight's just asked me to do this. That's for everyone.
What? That's my uncle. Come on, Dave. Also,
you, David.
you should buzz me because you should buzz me because future Academy. Well, she's Academy Award nominee. Virginia Madsen was only 31 when she made this movie. I apologize.
Yes.
Yeah. I want to know why it fucked you up, though, Dave.
I'm not sure. Like, I remember watching this at least twice, and both times it put me almost in a trance-like state. When I was watching it, it was like just the fact that he literally just turns up like 44 minutes into the film. You don't see him till 44 minutes. Like Jeff said, it's a slow burn. It really perfects it, and you don't see him and then he turns up, and he just instantly turns her life upside down, and it's almost like a dreamlike state. And it's funny because in researching this, I read that Virginia Madsen was hypnotized and given trigger words for some of these scenes, and I'm like, wow, I kind of got the same. I got the same feeling.
Yeah, she had to ask for them to stop with the hypnosis. Yeah.
This is the director's choice to like hypnotize her
Yes.
with her trigger words.
Yeah.
What weird ass social experiment is she in?
Yeah.
Well, the director was
but it had
friends
the
with
same.
Sam Raimi and...
It had the same sort of effect on me as well when I watched it, and I remember that, like, I just love the hopelessness of it. It's like this guy just turns up and fucks up her life.
Did it have anything to do with the score for you though? Because that Philip Glass score was just everything.
Yeah, there's a lot in here. It's like it starts off.
It was
like my opening note is like it starts with a scrolling overhead shot of Chicago, and that's the last. That's the last time you feel comfortable in this movie.
Yeah,
and like it masters the slow burn really good, because by the time like they rely on these little jump scares, almost like Elm Street did, but there's these little jump scares that just wind you up and give you a little bit, and wind you up and give you a little bit. But when the actual like main antagonist turns up, you're already unsettled and you're waiting for anything. So when the big stuff starts happening, it affects you twice as bad as it normally would. Like they really manipulated it really well in this film.
And the little like jump cuts too of the mural that she crawls through and the bees.
This almost subliminal. It wouldn't surprise me if you freeze frame this. There's subliminal shit in there as well.
Yeah, for sure.
There's totally little things, and
they didn't overreach with the effects. Sorry, Marcus. They didn't overreach with their effects either. Like bees or a swarm of bees. That was probably as far as they really went.
But that's not even effects. That's fucking practical. He put those bees in his mouth.
Yeah.
No, I mean
do that. Yeah.
He got like
the shot of
$10,000
Chicago
every time he got stung.
He got stung like 23 times.
Yes.
Yeah.
He had a
cash.
great contract.
Yeah.
They basically bought him half a house just from bee
They
stings.
did have to put bees in his mouth, guys. It was a trade-off.
Yeah.
I just want to know through that month that she was in the psych ward or whatever, and Candyman had the baby. Was Candyman like going out getting baby food, like going to the store, changing diapers? Was he like waiting in line?
Diapers. There's never enough diapers. Never enough formula.
I know, yeah.
Him like whispering lullabies in that terrifying voice, trying to get this kid to go
Tony
to
Todd's
Yeah,
voice. Holy crap, man! Like the
Brian,
guy.
you're right though, dude.
Yeah.
This is first of all to Jeff. your point, this is one of those covers that fucked me up when I was a kid in the video store. That cover, the image with the bee
eye
going
with a
towards
bee
the
on it.
eyeball,
Mhm.
it messed me up for sure. And I didn't know Philip Glass did this score. So whenever Philip Glass does a score, I'll get a little broad here. It always, there are certain composers like Ennio Morricone and Philip Glass that kind of dominate the movie, and they change the movie drastically. There are a lot of people who say a score should not do that to a movie, that it should just accompany it, and you should really be thinking about music. You can't help but think about Philip Glass's score in this movie.
Yeah.
So in a way, for me, it kind of gave me like a theatrical, kind of operatic viewing experience. I was not super scared of this movie at all, but I had a weird I almost felt like I was sitting in an audience in a theater watching this opera take place. Like there was something
It's
large.
very Phantom.
Yeah. It was very Phantom, and the fact that it was set in this insulated projects, urban setting, I thought it was really cool. The dichotomy of that style of music and the setting and the aesthetic and the people that we kept seeing on screen created this weird contradiction that, again, I'm being honest, it did not scare me, but I had a different kind of appreciation for this. It almost felt like true horror. Because I don't think horror in a real sense, like a gothic sense from a literary standpoint, is supposed to be legitimately scary. There's humor in there.
Mhm.
There is something there's something that pulls on like the old ghost story lores, where you're supposed to just be able to actually ingest all of it so that it will scare you later, not while you're actually watching it.
Yeah, that's
So
fair.
the idea of Bloody Mary and stuff like that, I felt like I could watch this thing no problem. But if I know if I had seen this when I was younger, the idea of Candyman would have scared the shit out of me every time I went into the bathroom by myself.
Yeah, I was younger, and
that was the magic. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the sign of a good
The
horror
idea
movie.
of Candyman fucked me up.
Yeah, the sign of a good horror movie is that it takes you right to the edge of tension, and it ramps you so high that the eventual kill that you know is coming is a relief.
Mm-hmm.
And so you laugh. You're like, "Oh, it happened!" That sort of thing. It's a relief. It's a tension release, and this movie brings you there beautifully.
It was
And I'm always
based
Go-
on
go ahead, dude.
a short film or a short story, The Forbidden, that was set in the UK. But they kind of said that bringing it to Cabrini Heights and the projects there that are no longer there, kind of put bigger themes in play.
It did a little.
They said the bonfire setting was like out of place, like abrasive, and I didn't think that at all. But one thing that I thought was like really interesting is he if you understand the backstory of Candyman, that he was the son of a shoemaker, and he was an artist, and he fell in love with one of his projects, the subject of one of his projects. And then the people of town were like, no, this is a forbidden love. They cut off his hand and covered him in honey, and then he got killed by bee stings. Yeah, it's very, very linear. It makes perfect sense.
Very Sharia law, I would say.
Yeah. Oh, wow. But bring it to the projects and to the Chicago, kind of put that racial story in focus on it.
John's out of the room.
Gone. See you later.
Going to a shining wall.
You know what? Delayed Jeff. There you go.
But one of the things that I really thought was interesting was when he was on screen or speaking, or anytime it was him, it was so clean and beautiful and like you say, kind of operatic or the Phantom like. But the way that he killed his victims was so ugly. Like when she's sitting across from the doctor or the
that's the one. That's a brutal one. Yeah,
it's so brutal, and he's so clean and schmick with his portrayal of Candyman, but the way he has to kill people is just so ugly, and it's almost like that thing of like he was forced to do this. You made him do this. He didn't. Yeah. You know, if he was just a killer of his own right, he might slit people's throat and be nice and clean with it. But because he was not a killer, and this is something that he has to do now, it's going to be ugly and use the thing that you gave him.
And you can't escape it. I appreciate it. Again, it didn't scare me at all, but I appreciated the fact that almost this entire fucking movie is lit during daylight.
Yeah.
Almost all of this takes place in bright light, so you shouldn't be scared at all. They're not using any of the tropes to try to scare you, which again, that was one of those things that stuck with me after the fact. And I know if I was a kid or if I was younger and I was more impressionable, it would have scared the shit out of me. You cannot escape. This is not Bloody Mary, where you have to turn the lights off.
Yeah.
bathroom and say her name.
And
5 times.
I'll tell you what,
Candyman
like,
will appear anytime, anywhere.
light or what? Like when he came through that mirror, I forgot that was happening, and I just about shit my pants.
Dude.
So
and,
it's like,
and that is like I used to do scare houses at Halloween Horror Nights in Singapore at Universal, and the two-sided mirror is just like stock standard. Where is it in this house? And it would be almost like our challenge to not put a mirror scare in a house. But when when he first shows up in that mirror, there is no way. I think just also that's the point of the tension that you're feeling throughout this whole vibe, the tone of this film. That even just a mirror scare, which we would see every single day, is like frightening. You're right. It's not scary. There's a few jump scares in there, but it sits with you for a long time.
I think that first scene, the first time that like she wakes up and she's in the girl's apartment, and all you hear is her screaming. And it starts.
That is one of the scenes that messed me up the most.
Lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it starts from her in the parking lot, and you first see Candyman. He starts talking, "Be my victim," and like all this stuff, and then literally it cuts into the scene. And every time I watch the scene, I always forget that. I always forget a lot little bits and pieces of this movie, but it just grabs you by the throat, and it's just like it really twists the entire world on its back. And I think to kind of add on to what you were, I think to add on to what you were saying with it, kind of him having to do these horrible things out of, but he's like so poetic and so like phantom-like. What she has to do in the end, going from this beautiful, attractive woman into and basically she has to go through the fire to sacrifice to stop him. And it's like this. The whole thing is very poetic. It's very beautiful.
That's why it works for me, because it turns. I thought of Toni Collette in Hereditary with the screaming, with the death. Like this movie works for me because as we do on this pod quite often. This movie works for me mostly because it ends up not playing on the interest. It's interesting, but it doesn't play completely on the lore of this urban legend. It ends up becoming much more a drama about this woman's struggle where the world doesn't believe her, which is always interesting. If you can pull that off, somebody going crazy, but they're not going crazy. It's totally happening with the world.
They even do it to you in the doctor's office when she's pulled into the psychiatrist's office just before he's killed. Like, they hold that just long enough to make you doubt her.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like,
but
wait.
Then there's a hook in his back.
It's like, wait. Is this all in her head? And then suddenly, slice and dice time. Yeah.
From asshole to brain.
From groin to gullet. From groin to gullet.
I just love the opening bit with Ted Raimi. Like, you got, and what kills me about the Ted Raimi thing is that, is like everyone knows Ted Raimi for being Ted Raimi, this goofy guy, and he's supposed to be like the suave, cool, like dude with like a biker jacket. And I'm like, really? This is Ted?
Yeah.
This is Ted Raimi? Like, maybe you could pull this off with Bruce.
You got buzz, Marcus. That's right. That means you have to drink.
And now I'm out.
Yes.
I gotta run to the bit. Wait, I'll be right back.
Get another beer, dude. I will say, I'm gonna echo you, Ryan. This was a movie I had never seen before.
Yeah,
have you? Jeff and Dave, had y'all? Dave, you said you had seen.
Oh,
it.
I've seen
Jeff,
this like 4 times. Yeah,
I'd never
I've
seen it.
Never
before
seen this one, dude. Yeah, so I'm glad I finally sat down and watched it. And yeah, what a treat that Philip Glass composed the score. Why did that happen?
How did that happen? Yeah,
I really
Friends in high places.
I know I'm reaching a little bit, but it's not just the poster. Was there some silence elements? Did they take it? Which was a year or two before. The way she's researching it, the way she's doing it, and the way she's trying to gather information, and then she gets caught in the middle of it. She doesn't know she's getting played from both ends, basically.
This is more of a drama for me. I would not call this a slasher movie.
It is kind of like it's definitely Silence of the Lambs meets Phantom of the Opera.
And Basic Instinct chucked in there as well.
Yeah,
that's it, dude. Yeah.
Even though they were the same year that they came out, Virginia Madsen was like, someone was like, this Sharon Stone girl is beautiful. Let's find someone like that, and let's get her as scantily clad as often as possible, which is not a bad thing.
But then when you have this protagonist stumbling her way through, I love when not necessarily horror, but let's say thriller, mystery, all of those genres, if we bundle them together, when just characters are behaving oddly, and they know why. Not like when you see TV tropes where somebody's doing a one-off like day player role and they're just being weird for the sake of being weird. But like that boy that's talking to her when she shows up is just behaving oddly, and you don't know why. And I don't even know if the boy actor knows why, but somebody knows why this boy is behaving oddly. And you as the audience goer goes, and yes. Well, but it's layered. So yes, he's seen some shit. So he has fair play. He can do whatever he wants. But he's not just doing anything. He is saying, you don't want to go down this road. He is almost being a sage at the same time.
Yeah, he was kind of fucking right,
with
too.
Trauma. And he's right. So there's all this layering going on. And then, of course, she is like the audience where she just can't help herself. And then it leads her. If she doesn't meet this kid, maybe none of that stuff happens. But
I'm going to read way into this movie, way too far. But I was thinking about this with the child. I feel like there was something about that kid was basically teaching us throughout that, like, you are supposed to be afraid of some things. You're not, as adults, we get curious and interested and we think we can overcome our fear and see the logic in any of this stuff. That kid was just like kind of cutting through it every time for me. And, you know, I know he had that device at the end where he lit the fire and stuff, but there's those two scenes leading up to it. It was like the moment of truth for me where it was like, there are some things that, an innocence that humans are supposed to have. You are supposed to be afraid of some things. You're not supposed to look in the mirror and test these things. Like there is something like very, very primal about that. You're supposed to be scared of the dark. You're supposed to be scared of these things that people say are haunting. So again, playing into what we were talking about earlier, that stayed with me after the fact, which I think is why this movie works, is that there are certain things that you're initially afraid of that this movie didn't scare me when I was watching it, but it made me think about the fact that, like, not only is it okay to be afraid, but you're supposed to be afraid.
You're supposed to be, and I think that was to further on that. That was Virginia Madsen's character's flaw. She had no fear. Something in her life previous to that made her go, "No, I'm stronger than the usual, like, you know, damsel in distress." So she just,
don't go in that bathroom.
Yeah,
don't
without
go in that
second
bathroom.
She's just like, "No, it's fine. I'll go in there." And every time she did, something messed up happened. And it's like, see, cool.
So our hero,
be brave, guys. Yeah,
the hero fucked everything up with their courage.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Also, the friend dying, like if we say Candyman's fake and like she's actually crazy, the friend dying completely the cops' fault, because the cops let the husband take her
home.
Take her home, and then she killed someone else, and it's like, really, you're mad at her now? Like, you know, you don't really let the killer out, like, you know.
Well, that goes back to the Jason line, which some horror movies forget, but in the first Halloween, and finally somebody just says, if there is a monster that is as bad as you say, and he is loose, then this is your fault for ever letting him possibly leave in the first place. And it's the one thing where it's like, we know we need him to get out. And in a lot of horror movies, because the device is, you need you need the monster on the loose. You need it on the loose. And even if the monster is in her head, she is the whatever it is.
The uncontrollable monster.
Nightmare, this can be anything. And it's like, we need her to be loose. But it's like, you also have to be self-aware. And that adds an intelligence, that adds a brilliance, which allows us as the viewer to be in. And in Candyman, they do that, where it's like, they pull that off really, really, really well.
Yeah, it's a smart movie.
It was a higher level. Like, it was quite avant-garde. You go into it thinking it's going to be a slasher, and then, here you go. I really, I found it really funny that, like, what a weird flex for Trevor, the husband, to show up at her funeral with Stacy, the
fucking college student.
That was like dick move.
That was such a dick move. That stuck with me. As much as all of the
that stuck with you.
That stuck
you know what
with
stuck
me
me the most? This kid macking on the.
All I can say is that kid has the best line in the movie when he's talking about the kid that got his dick cut off, and he's just like, I'm gonna butcher it, but he's like, you know, they couldn't put it back. Might as well not be alive.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
nope.
Horror movie.
Nope, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Anything else? Any final thoughts they have to get off their chest? Ryan first.
The location scout on this film did a stellar job.
Yeah.
Just everything was so bleak. And that's why I said before about the bonfire didn't feel out of place for me. I felt like just outside the projects is just and this it's a broad term for generalization for me to say, but I feel like it's just people just dumping their shit and just going, oh yeah, cool. Like the tire fire in Springfield in The Simpsons. There's just a place where people just dump their old tires or their old shit, and once a year we burn it, or whenever it's getting too much. So
it was a different version. I'm so glad we chose this with A Nightmare on Elm Street, because I feel like the right at home horror movie, it's on your street, it's happening right there, the bleakness. I think people who don't grow up on a street like A Nightmare on Elm Street would say the same fucking thing. It feels that way. It feels so pedestrian. There was something so limiting to their set their set design. The detail in it was great, but there were only a few. There were only a few places that they kept going, and everything happened there. Everything that ever could happen there with Candyman happens there. So I totally agree with you. I felt like that was terrifying that it was so isolated.
I mean, to sum up, even this is a movie worth a watch right now, and then the remake's coming out next year. Give that a watch too, because I mean,
it might not be a remake too. I was watching.
It could be a follow-on, yeah.
Yeah,
it could be a handover. Yeah.
It's
well, they're saying
supposed
that
to be a requel, like kind of sequel requel.
Mm.
But
Well,
I also like part 2. But
I'll be.
I
watching
have
the
not seen part 2, so I'll give that a watch. Okay.
It's cheesy. The dialogue's on the fuck you.
Yeah, that's what you. Cheesy is a negative word. You said we haven't buzzed you enough, and we are coming for
Wait,
you.
cheesy's not a good word.
Fuck you, Marcus. Fuck you.
Marcus, don't sidestep the gimmick, all right? You have to face the gimmick head on. Head on.
Hand
all right,
on.
friends.
Marcus, just for trying
Hand
to fight
on,
it.
because our hands are pushing it. That's right. All right, friends, we have to wrap this up. If this were our episode, it would be one of our longest episodes ever. We have another segment.
It's gonna
and
be.
I promise you, this is the segment that it's all about. Now that we're getting nice and saucy here, we are heading into Jason X, which is the 10th.
Yes.
10th Jason Voorhees film, 2001, which, what a year, 2001, for sure. We have to do this. We have to watch the trailer. Dave, do we do the random year generator now, or do we do it at the end of this
No.
segment? Do we announce next
In light
week's?
of us going live, we pre-generated the year, so we're going to be doing, we're going to be doing 1995 next week.
1995. So we'll announce the films. 1995 was a fantastic
we can
year.
still speak at the end of this, yeah.
Braveheart won a lot of shit in 1995. A lot of other stuff was going on. We're going to talk about which films
Spoiler alert,
we're going to be doing. Spoiler alert, we're not doing Braveheart. I have a limit, which is no 3-hour films. I'm in grad school. No 3-hour films.
I'm with you.
And as many renters as possible. Also, by the way, all of these were available on the NBC Universal pod. So USA, if you have USA Network or NBC,
Any of the TV anywhere,
Sci-Fi,
yeah.
Sci-Fi. These were available. It said for 30 days, so I don't know if we get a
Although,
bonus day.
I must say, don't watch them on Sci-Fi, because I started to watch them on Sci-Fi and ended up I ended up renting them because they edited the fuck out of some of these movies.
They all did it.
And
Jason X
and Marcus,
there were supposed to be 4 boobs in Jason X, and they were literally blurred.
I have the uncut version.
That's for you. Marcus will get to this. The first time I endorse the actual DVD copy of the film, because Marcus is very anti-streaming. He has a collection of DVDs that is unbelievable.
Physical media for life.
Yeah. And
they admit they cut them all to an hour and a half, and they were like, "We cut them down to the time
shit.
allotted." We're like, "Jesus, yeah." They admitted
I was like,
that.
"No."
But anyway, they're all available for streaming for free.
Or you can just pay for it and get the whole movie.
What?
Dude,
physical media.
You can get all of Neon Maniacs for free on YouTube.
On
all
YouTube
of these other ones.
yes.
You can just check them out.
It's because
Okay.
nobody wants
Anyway,
Neon Maniacs.
we are about to watch the trailer for Jason X. I'm going to sprint to get another beer.
Yes.
What else? What else do we need to know? 1995 movies we're going to talk about at the end of this segment. Jason X, please stick around. We are going to take teams. We are going to have a 2-on-2. We're going to have a versus about Jason X. I hope you are all excited about this. We are very, very excited about this.
It's going to be fun.
We'll see you in a minute, film fans.
I am so fucked.
In the year 2455, on a routine training mission, a team of students is about to discover a life form frozen in time.
They're on their way back. Prepare for docking and power up the lab.
You brought him on board?
Everything's under control, ma'am.
an unstoppable killing machine.
It's okay. He just wanted his machete back.
How do we get off the ship?
I don't know. Look, we're gonna be all right.
What? Are you high?
Uh-oh.
He's here.
You have got to get them out of there.
Hey, Slappy.
I think we're finally okay.
What the hell is that?
You've got to be kidding me.
Oh, wow.
It's been modified.
Oh, you think?
You guys might want to run. I don't think he's out there.
Why don't you just stick your head out and have a peek?
Yeah,
And we're back.
And we're
Guys,
back.
we are talking about Jason
Yes.
X. This is Jason Voorhees times 10. That is the X. X equals 10. Jason Voorhees. This is the 10th
10th
film
film.
of Jason Voorhees. We are about to go 2v2.
Okay, so
As
normally
said at
when
the
we
beginning-
normally when we do this, we pretty much just take everyone's opinion at face value. But in this case, we thought we'd divide everyone up into teams. So we're going to have an affirmative team and a negative team, and I'm going to sit in the middle and moderate.
Where was this
So-
on Grease 2, you motherfucker?
Guys,
Ryan?
why don't we do this really quick? Let's do it. Let's go around. Guys, let's go around the horn. Let's talk about what have you guys been drinking. Let's start with Marcus. What have you been drinking?
I have been drinking. I'm probably gonna butcher it because I've put a lot of these in. Le Fay Blondes. They are delicious. They are
Nice.
pale ales,
Ooh.
and they are 6.6%.
Oh,
Nice.
that's cute.
John?
I'm drinking the Voodoo Rangers Imperial IPA. Those are 9% double IPAs. Get at me. I'm fucking wasted.
You guys are going to have some fun. Ryan?
I'm drinking the Green Label. I think that might be just Green Label. It's 4.5%, but that's the beer in Japan that I've enjoyed.
I mean,
the
it's the
most.
perfect drink for 10 in the morning.
Yeah.
4.5 is really strong at 10 in the morning. Dave, what are you drinking?
So early, I love
I'm
this.
drinking 6 Point Mind Control. It is an 8.9% alcohol.
Pussy.
Yeah.
I will say,
I know. I bought it. I bought it down from 9. Oh damn.
I'm drinking methylated spirits.
100%. Dave is a brilliant editor and engineer. 100%. My favorite Dave is when we do this podcast and he has to edit this after he's been drinking 9% beers, and the next day we listen and we have like. We have like intros, things that were not a
like
part
the-
of our
the
podcast.
pre-show
that are in there.
countdown,
We're like,
like,
Dave, the pre-show countdown. It's like Dave, and he's like, "Oh, right," because I was like, I was on my 9% beer when I started editing this. I'm on my 4th different kinds of beer. I had a Lagunitas, which is 6%. I'm in Cape Cod, so I had a Harpoon, which is a Boston beer, at 6%. And now I have Narragansett and Fat Tire, which are 5%.
Double
so
fisting?
I'm easing off.
Jesus.
I mean,
You are using off.
You're tapering. Tapering down.
His girlfriend is in the house.
So we are in.
and Chloe's in the house.
We are in. Was it really that bad? So in the.
We are in. Was it really that bad?
In the interest of that, I'm going to reshuffle everyone. Because basically,
I love this movie. I am in the affirmative. I want to be in the affirmative.
So basically,
I do too.
Well, no, it's sorry, but John and Ryan are in the affirmative. John and Ryan, this is the best movie ever. So normally we buzz everyone for negative comments, but in this case, for this live show, the rules have changed. John and Ryan, if you say anything negative about this film, you'll be buzzed. Jeff and Marcus, if you say anything positive about this film, you'll be buzzed.
I'm so drunk.
Wait, I'm gonna go grab a second beer because I'm gonna fucking need it.
I got my second beer. This film, I'm just gonna. You can buzz me right off the top.
Sure, there you go.
This film is one of the most fun fucking film experiences I've had in a really, really long time.
Yes.
Well, let me get the pitch first. So while Marcus is back already. First things first. This has a 4.4 on IMDb. That's right. Jason
Wrong.
X here has a 4.4 on IMDb as voted on by your peers. If you wanted to know what the Rotten Tomatoes score is, the Rotten Tomatoes score is not Jason Mraz. Why is Jason Mraz coming up? Jason X Rotten Tomatoes score is
Dude, clear
20.
your search history.
This has a 20% on Rotten Tomatoes. The
Ooh.
pitch: Jason Voorhees returns with a new look, a new machete, and his same murderous attitude as he is awakened on a spaceship in the 25th century. I was trying to figure out how to place this. It's like The Fifth Element meets The Time Machine? I don't even know. They did not try to age these characters at all.
Okay, just before we get started, I just want to bring it
once.
into the what we've gone through here. We've gone through Friday the 13th, Friday the 13th Part 2, Friday the 13th Part 3, Friday the 13th, the final chapter.
That's right.
Then we go into Friday the 13th, A New Beginning, or Friday the 13th, Give Us More Money. And then we go into Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives. Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood. Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. And they couldn't call it Friday the 13th because of licensing, so they call it Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday. This is the second ending in this franchise.
They still have Fridays.
They
in
then
24/55.
they then come back with Jason X, then Freddy versus Jason, which technically happens before Jason X, and then Friday the 13th, the reboot.
And I have to say, what a loophole, because you knew Freddy vs. Jason was happening. So let's set this in the future, just so it doesn't mess with the timeline. But just
because we know
like,
Freddy versus
chronologically.
Jason is in development hell. So
Yeah.
Also, this movie has an awesome cameo by famous director and horror film expert David Cronenberg.
Yes, it
who
does.
directed The Dead Zone, which John mentioned at the beginning of this movie. David Cronenberg directed The Dead Zone.
Buzz
like you
David
knew.
Cronenberg for being the fucking man.
I'll buzz us all.
Yes.
I'm going to tell you what's funny about this movie, and this is why I'm glad that we chose this, because we were between this and something else. I looked up the director, cinematographer, writer, art director, costume director on all of their
Why did you do
IMDb's. On all of their IMDb's, Jason X was the first thing mentioned. It was their highlight of their career on everybody.
Let's get into
Now,
it
to
right
be
now.
fair,
Go ahead.
no,
Sorry,
because
finish your thought.
I secretly love this movie, but I have to pretend to hate this movie. Okay, so the last thing I'll say is it stars Kane Hodder, who for all of our four... Marcus, do you want to talk about Kane Hodder? Because I wrote down a shit ton of facts about Kane Hodder. He is good friends with Rob Zombie and Kurt Hammett of Metallica. He has kill and exclamation point written on his under lip here. He's been Jason a million times.
He's also Victor Crowley.
It's in his rider that he won't harm an animal, but he has killed 1,000 humans on screen. Anything else? Anything else that you want to say about Kane Hodder before we get into this?
I mean, Kane Hodder at cons used to be able to. I don't know if he's still able to, but when you get a photo with Kane, he would actually choke you. And it would choke you for fucking real, man.
How many photos do you have of Kane choking you, Marcus?
So I have a few, but the worst one, the funniest one, from
He
my
has-
friend.
He has
is
so
the
many.
one where
His
Kane put his
nickname is
arm around
officially
my-
the Chicken.
Yeah, so basically Kane put his hand around my neck and literally started choking me. And my friend's like, I don't know how to work your camera. I'm like, hit the button.
Work it soon.
You hit the button. It was like one of those push and click ones. And he's fucking with it, and Kane's just like tightening. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ, fucking do it. And then finally, and I'm blue in the fucking picture because Kane almost made me bounce out.
Okay, I just need to
All
stop
right.
you for a second. We've had a comment pop up here. Who was drinking Narragansett?
That was me.
Okay, you have to go to your room.
Go to your room, Dave. This is the beer they drink in Jaws. Get out of here. They drink Narragansett in Jaws.
You have
Is
to
it
drink.
strong?
You have to drink.
No.
We buzzed you.
God,
It's
Jaws.
The equivalent of go to your room.
I'm drinking Fat Tire right now. Anyway, we have to talk about Jason X, okay? So Jason in
all right,
space.
all right. Let's begin. This is the Citizen Kane of horror movies for several reasons.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Go
Thank you.
on.
Great team member. Thank you.
What horror movies were missing until Jason X was a shitty sci-fi television show tone. The tone of this film. The tone of this film tells you that you're gonna laugh and that's okay. That everything's gonna be lit brightly and that's how it should be. And that Jason is something that you should root for, not be afraid of. That's basically what I took away from this. When the ants replace him with metal body parts by the end of this movie, and he turns into the super shredder of Jason's, I realized this was the movie I have been waiting for this entire week. I watched 2 notorious, infamous horror movies, and little did I know that a team of under 25 PhDs in 2455.
They are very attractive PhD candidates, by the way.
These are the hottest. This is a group.
They're
This
hot.
is a group of scientists on a space expedition. The oldest
Scientists
person
can be
there is
hot.
like 30
That's a
years
thing.
old.
Yeah,
You
Fauci.
guys-
They're
They're
boning
all, like,
over
12
cadavers.
years old. I mean, not 12. They're all like 24 years old too. And like the
I mean,
lead
they
actor
are
becomes Charlton Heston midway through the film.
They're
With
so
no
young.
reasoning.
Where
Wait,
are the
I have a
pe-
I have a
there are
question
no
for my
adults.
west, my people from I'll call it the far southeast. I'll say so. Dave and Ryan, did Weta Digital do these visual effects?
Yeah.
Because this came out in 2001, so it's right around the first Lord of the Rings. So I was just wondering, did they outsource to Weta?
I think
That's
they
for
were
you,
busy.
Jeff.
Yeah.
You drink that.
I'm pretty sure they were busy, and it shows.
I'm just buzzing everyone.
All right, so wait, let's fill everybody in. So Jason and David Cronenberg, director of The Fly and The Dead Zone and Eastern Promises and whatever. David Cronenberg
Scanners.
is a doctor, and he's trying to preserve Jason and others into cryogenic freezing. By the way, this film is a great endorsement for cryogenic freezing because it clearly works. The weird thing is in the future when they're surprised that it worked. That's the weird thing for me, but I'm on the negative side, so you can't buzz me for that.
No, I
But they're
can't.
literally like, "Oh my god, it worked," and it's like, I hope it's worked. Obviously, it's worked. Anyway, so they're trying to freeze Jason and some other people. They're trying to do some experiments. Maybe they think it's going to be profitable, and obviously it goes wrong. But then Jason and this very attractive woman, they both get frozen and discovered 450 years later, get brought back, etc., etc. As you can imagine, the first thing she says when she's brought back to life, surprised that nobody is, "Where is he?" Because for 450 years in a coma, the first thing she thinks when she wakes up is not "Where am I?" It's "Where is he?" Jason. So anyway, we wake up on this spaceship, and then it literally becomes it actually almost feels more like The Cube. Did you ever see that movie The Cube?
Oh,
They're,
yeah,
like,
we've
lost
seen
in a
The
Rubik's
Cube.
Cube type room.
Yeah.
It's part of my list.
Most
Yeah.
underrated movie ever.
So yeah, it has this feeling. There's like 9 people stuck on this cube. Half of them are trying to bone while there's a serial killer running around. but basically they want to turn
Jeff,
it
you
into
go
a zoo.
first.
It's so beautiful though.
Where
It's so
where
beautiful.
Jason, he's a notorious killer that everybody knows because he's killed 200 people. They want to make money off of him, so that is why they're trying to keep him alive, which is funny because he can't die. So there's your conundrum. And even though I love this movie's shit.
You said you love that movie.
Yeah, I didn't feel anything negative about that, but yeah. So in light of the affirmative, Jim Isaac is the director of it. He was a creature effects guy who, being in space, it ties it to. He worked on Return of the Jedi. So this is really well connected. Todd Farmer was also the writer of the brilliant Nick Cage vehicle, Drive Angry.
Yeah.
So,
Tom
and he
Atkins
kind of
is in
based
that.
this on Aliens. So this couldn't
Yeah,
not
they
work. This
totally
was-
based this on Aliens. I think this is
Yeah.
also the first time digital effects were used in cooperation with the gore effects.
Yeah.
Really?
In was it?
It was.
Do it. Keep going. Yeah. keep
Really?
going.
Yeah.
I was trying to build my case there, but yeah.
Go.
Yeah. Hold on.
So,
We're building a legitimate case here.
Yeah, about the legitimacy. Jim Isaac's worked on Return of the Jedi, guys. This is brilliant. This is totally
That is
brilliant.
genius. How did you find that fact? That is good for our case. Keep going.
I went back.
I'm sensing an affection here.
There's so much affection. They basically said we need to tie over this series until Freddy vs. Jason because that's going to happen, but it's in development hell. So what do? Let's go really, really out there. Let's do exactly the opposite of what has really made this series. And guys, statistically, this is the the most profitable Friday the 13th or
It
Jason
is.
film,
Yeah.
in the series. So they tied it to things like the Grendel is the name of the ship, which is the beast from Beowulf. No reason, but guys, like when you were quoting things like
No
Beowulf-
reason. No reason. Nothing about this has anything to do with Beowulf. Nothing about.
When you were quoting
I mean,
Grendel.
Jason could be technically
Brian drink.
Grendel. I mean, come on.
Do you know the Odyssey was once a book? Like
when you were quoting Beowulf. Keep going, right? That's okay.
So, yeah, to do, but also because it's almost election time, we have to talk about unemployment and jobs. This gave well over.
Brian drink.
That's why this movie was made. No, hold on, wait. This is a political movie. Keep going.
If you go and watch the making of this film, everyone who is involved in this film felt like they
Is
were
now
making
unemployed.
Fucking is never worked again.
this was the highlight of their career. IMDb
It really
says
was.
this is it.
Also, this movie was the feeder movie for the cast of Mutant X, Andromeda, and Stargate Atlantis.
Yes.
So it really, it really trained up some quality actors to really facilitate some of the best TV shows of the first 10 years of
Sci-fi
our
world.
of the 2000s. Sorry, I'm laughing at myself.
Don't laugh. Keep going.
Also, in more recent times, this film has really just inspired some incredible works like Bloodshot. The nanotech ants, even though the comic probably existed well before, the nanotech ants regenerating and upgrading heroes. You've seen it in Bloodshot. In pop culture, the Star-Lord costumes were in Guardians of the Galaxy were directly inspired by the field trip students who come back to Earth 400 years later and discover a base that wasn't destroyed in whatever world-ending event that happened.
Okay, did you do a whole dissertation on this? What the hell is
Yeah.
going on right now?
Jesus Christ!
Dave said that this needed to be a fucking debate about the affirmative of this film, so I
Yeah, he's come out swinging.
My
He's
partner
come out
is killing
swinging.
it. Yeah, my
my last point here is the nephew or son of Sean Cunningham, who is one of the godfathers of lots of these films. You'll notice his name on one of the pieces of space debris. But let's take a step back. Space debris. They showed how much shit we leave in the just the inner rim.
It's something we need to talk about.
It's
Yeah.
a political
This is
drama.
not a waste management movie. This is not a waste
This is an
management
issue
movie. Get the
movie.
fuck out of here.
Gravity,
the guy,
gravity would
the
not
doctor
waste
in this
management
movie.
movie.
The doctor in this movie's name is Dieter. This movie takes place 450 future. The name Dieter should have been retired. They didn't know how to age this movie. His name is Dieter. That name is done.
shit.
Don't talk to me about space debris. Get out of here. It's-
Come on.
And obviously, they were more progressive with their sexual education because there is a softcore porn in the middle of this movie.
Yeah.
It is.
Wait, the VR one or the real one?
Take your pick, because
The VR one. Would you want to smoke some pot or have some premarital sex?
sex.
Okay,
That's
that
the
was
VR.
funny.
That is.
That was them
callback.
taking
That
a
was a
shot.
straight-up throwback.
That was them taking
So-
a shot at everything that
Sorry.
the horror movies had set up beforehand. So yeah.
I do want to point out, and a literal affirmative to this is it has two of the best kills in the Jason series ever.
the first one.
It
Yeah.
has about
Thank
6 of the
you.
best kills.
face
Yeah.
salad.
All right,
is
so
the-
I think Ryan.
Marcus,
and I
you
will
need a
agree-
drink for supporting that statement.
Of course I'm gonna.
I think Ryan and I will agree. The first kill where he pushes her head into what is probably nitra.
It's
something.
a freezy thing. That's
Yeah,
what it
it's
is.
something
It's a
freezy.
A freezy thing.
And then smashes her fucking head. That was fucking awesome, dude. That was a
Brilliant.
sweet first kill. Or
He takes her
not the first
frozen
kill.
head.
Okay, John, I gotta buzz you there because that's actually been disproved by MythBusters. That is
Has it?
not actually physically possible.
But I did it to
Not
a banana
yet.
in biology class.
Yeah, this
In
is
400
2455.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can do anything in those, and also I also
Just
love
because
the kill where
they
the guy
don't know-
gets thrown on the drill and he starts spinning around and falls
Oh,
to the fucking
I'm
bottom.
so glad you brought that up, Marcus.
Marcus, you said something positive. You are buzzed.
Screwed. He's screwed.
The foreshadowing of that drill is brilliant. If
I
you
love
go back
this
and watch it
fucking movie.
now, because there's
I
no
wrote
reason
notes.
for that drill, but they show in one
It's just
scene.
sitting there. It's
There's
just
a guy
sitting there.
angle grinding on the drill just to be like, yeah, this has purpose, and we're gonna use this later. So yeah, I'm just gonna foreshadow
Also-
this shit now.
What about the stoner
Also,
character?
I wrote-
that does that. That just like
Azrael, yeah.
he
Well,
gets
yeah.
his arm cut off only to show that they can regenerate things, and
Yeah.
then sets up the whole hologram room only to be killed off for no other fucking reason but to be there for that.
So
I
debate
think
one.
they
Dave.
also
I think everybody loves this film.
They
I
also
fucking love
wait.
this
They
film.
This is the
they also
anti-Grease
this is
2.
how they
Marcus, you bust.
but they set up the screw kill. So basically, someone falls on top of a screw, and then the body goes down like it kind of goes like this. So the body, literally, of the corpse. So it's like, you know, the beam is coming out like here through the stomach, and then the person like literally corkscrews down. The actual setup is, you scream like a girl, screw you, you wish. To which I wrote the note, I guess humor hasn't evolved very much in 450 years. But little did I know, when they set this up, they were really just using cheap 1980s horror film tropes to set up later what happened to whatever his name was. He's screwed. Because not only is he dead, but he went screwed down. I think that was cheap. I love the movie, but I actually pushed back on that particular point.
Drink. You can't love this movie.
Wait,
Yep.
I'm negative, though. No, I'm negative. Oh, I
Yeah,
said I
you
love
said
the
you
movie.
love the movie.
You said
yeah.
you love this movie. One of my favorite lines is when that the head of their defense department is ripped. That guy is in good shape.
Brodsky is
He's done a few
badass.
push-ups, and they wanted you to know it. They wanted you to know that everyone in the future is really hot and really in shape.
Really
they
hot.
said, this guy is really strong. The doctor says, this guy's really strong. And then you see the ants working on him. The ants clear off, and there's a over-the-top shot of this guy's body, which is just cut, chiseled, absolutely cut to pieces. When this man dies, he says one of my favorite lines in the whole movie. He doesn't die. He gets stabbed. It's going to take more than a poke in the ribs to put this dog down. And then Jason stabs him again. He says,
"That'll do it.
That'll do it."
John loves this movie.
That's not even my favorite kill.
Wait.
It's my favorite kill is the sucked into space through a grate. And sadly, they don't show it.
Oh, yeah.
When he punches the hole in the ship and she gets sucked into space through the grate, and they just kind of show the remains kind of hanging there. It was like, come on, guys, you could just go for the R rating. Just show it. Just show it.
What about the pilot? What about the pilot that they decided to not
Out
kill,
of
but
no-
it looks like
yeah.
Jason just like skinned the guy alive?
Wait, how
and
was
it's
he
like,
on
what the
that
fuck?
ship, though? How did that... Yeah.
Yeah, no,
just went-
They got
it's like-
Randy
it's
Quaid from Independence Day to pilot this.
Dude, that is that actually.
Are you sure?
What's
Look,
his name?
this
Okay,
movie knows
okay,
exactly
all right.
what it is.
Let's
though.
let's go
This movie knows
let's
exactly
go
what
for the
it is.
negative. Marcus, what did you hate about this film?
Yeah, get in here because I know you love this film. You're gonna get wasted right now. What do you hate
Go,
about
Marcus.
this film, Marcus? Why does this film suck so much?
Oh,
dude?
you guys are fucking
Tell us why you
evil.
hate it so much.
You hate it
don't
so
like
good.
film.
You hate it so good.
You know, look, Jason X is a part fucking 10. It's a fucking part 10. And not only is it a part 10, it's a part 10 in space. It's like they went from fucking Manhattan to shape-shifting to fucking space. And for a
Oh my
space film,
God.
it's not... You know what? It could have been 10 times worse. It could have been Leprechaun 4. But it's not. It's Jason X. And, like, let's be real. This film, from the score, from the opening shot, from, like the military man being like, we're taking Jason. Why? We're going to take our military orders you don't need to know. Blah, 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 blah. And it's like, and then, like, she's, like dainty and, like, not doing anything and can't even tack him and, like, tricks him. And midway through the fucking film, she all of a sudden, she, like, turns into... like Sigourney Weaver with a shotgun and plasma rifle, and it's just like, wait, when the fuck did you become a badass?
Yeah, okay,
telling
yeah.
her
The,
about-
the ninja robot is when they lost me. To be honest.
come
yeah.
on, the ninja
Oh, come
robot's fucking
on!
awesome.
You were just waiting.
Buzz yourself.
Oh!
Yeah.
Buzz
Wait,
yourself.
I have something...
Because that's what's so awesome about this movie. You're waiting for the robot to kick ass, and she does it. Jeff, what do you hate about this movie?
Here, I'll tell you, first things first about the robot.
Her nipples?
That robot...
Well, that-
Wait,
Her
hold on,
nipples
hold
fall
on.
off?
There's a very, very attractive female robot. Here's what I'm saying. The robot explains to a guy. Now, this is important now. Here we are in November, almost November 1st, 2020. Also, we fall back, so don't you try to
Are
go
we
to
about
bed
to get-
early, film fans.
are we about to
We're
get
about to
canceled?
fall back. No.
I'm just going to
Guys.
stop you for a second. David Knight is making some really obscure, like posts here. Like we've got liquid nitrogen and sorry, Mr. President. I'm not sure what
Dave-
happened there,
Uncle
David.
Dave-
We need some more information.
Uncle Dave, can we add you Can we add you to? We've been talking about what we've been drinking. Do you mind going ahead and just pumping into the chat there? What have you been drinking?
Well, we get the liquid nitrogen, but what is the? I'm sorry, Mr. President.
Oh, liquid
Tell us, Dave.
nitrogen was the. Sorry,
Right.
Mr. President. I guess we made some anti-Trump comments. I don't know. It's very possible. John's a poll worker. It doesn't matter. Here we go, guys. The robot. Here we are in a pandemic. The robot convinces a guy, I call him Cocky Guy because I don't remember his name, and he got really cocky when he walks into Jason and goes, "Hey, Jason! Oh my God, it's so crazy seeing you!" And then she comes, like, I have a feeling the military didn't train him. But anyway,
She didn't come.
the robot convinces him,
fake nips.
or he convinces the robot that making out increases their odds of survival. Now, if anybody here can explain to me how making out increases your odds of survival in space, sign me up for space.
Actually,
Sign me
no,
up.
that's
It
been
sounds
proven.
great.
Sorry,
It's an
that's
advert.
that's been
It's an
proven
advert
in that's been proven in Serenity. That was
yeah.
precedent was set in Serenity later, where she was like, "Oh, you mean to say?" And he's like, "I mean to say." And she's like, "Screw this, I'm gonna live." So it
Yeah.
does increase your chances of
Did
survival.
you just say
Guys.
it was proven later?
Yes.
Yeah, no, he said it's proven in
Yes.
Serenity.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take that because that is a positive about this film. This is a comment
you.
on artificial intelligence. That is
Yeah.
a sci-fi trope that they owned. She became more alive when she was shown love. Jeff,
Yep.
you
Oh
nailed
yeah,
Bang your-
it.
oh yeah.
Bang
When her
your
body got
androids.
taken off, when her body was taken off, and it was just the head, and the guy was carrying it around. What do you think he was thinking
yeah.
about?
Oh, I'm gonna fuck that USB
Yeah,
port.
you're Buzz, Jeff. Yeah.
This movie, guys.
Why
nah.
does he save her head?
tells you.
Because
It
she is
tells
more
you.
than her body, Jeff. She
Yeah.
is her brain. She
has
is the
thoughts and
I can't.
emotions.
But bang your androids, guys, because the probability of living goes up like 50%.
Whoa.
I
Half the
just
people
see what
watching
the
are
fact that
family
she-
members.
That's what I
did-
learned. You should fuck every robot you can.
Guys, half the people watching are my family. We can't do this.
Oh,
If Joaquin
I just love the
Phoenix-
John
fact
got
that
buzzed.
at the beginning when he's like they like make a joke about them fucking her, and he's literally just like and like it cuts to him and she's like and like her tits are out, and then all of a sudden the fake nips just fall off, and you're like,
Fall
oh,
off.
he's trying to put fake nips on there, and she goes, no, I wanted them to be real, and he's like, I like you the way you are. It's like
What a way!
I don't-
What a brilliant way of heightening the realism of the struggles of artificial intelligence. Thank you for
Shut
bringing
up,
that
John.
up.
Also, no, John. John, you know you watched this for free on USA. You know that scene was cut out. You know you didn't see the nipple falling off
I
scene.
totally paid. I paid $2.99 to watch this
Yes.
movie on streaming.
I also did.
I
He
wanted
also
to
missed
see
an
it.
opportunity. Like, if he's using
I
metal
didn't see the
nipples,
scene.
Did you not?
didn't see the
it's,
scene?
it's the best scene in the world.
Jeff,
he
did
used
you miss
metal.
the entire? There is a softcore porn segue about 35 minutes into this movie where every member of the crew starts fucking.
yeah.
It's weird.
That's
dude.
fair. That's fair.
Everybody
Weird in a
listening
brilliant
is
way.
a
It's weird in
family
a
They
great
member
way.
of
pretty
mine.
much behave like they're at a campground at Crystal
You've
Lake.
got to trigger Jason somehow. That's it.
Oh my
yeah,
God!
we got to give
Guys,
it up when he is
Uncle
beating
Dave
those
said,
sleeping
"Sorry,
dads.
Mr. President" is a line from
really-
Independence Day, which is spoken.
Yes.
Oh God, how did we possibly miss that?
That
was
guy.
because we
Let's
saw
buzz
the sequel
Dave,
and it ruined
buzz
it.
all of us for not catching that. 'Cause We totally. Yeah, everybody fucking drink.
I just want to go back to banging your androids because Therese brought it up.
What?
If
What did Therese say?
Joaquin Phoenix have banged his lightning port in her, it could have been a whole
His
different
lightning
I
port?
got Ryan drink.
You got the Thunderbolt connection?
He already had
Thunderbolt
that,
to USB.
He already
equals
had.
banging
Yeah,
for
he already
Joaquin
had
It was
that.
almost in real time.
He already had that
Glad
beer in
to
his mouth
slow
when I
it
hit that
down.
buzzer.
All right.
my God.
If anybody's listening right now, they don't understand what this movie is about at all.
It
They have
doesn't
no
matter.
idea.
No one does.
It doesn't
It's
matter
in-
because
at one
Jason
point,
is
does
lost
Does
in
this
they-
movie have a
space.
plot? Does it really need to have a plot? Like, it's Jason fucking X. It's part 10 in space. And
Yeah,
Alien,
it's Jason
that's
in
it.
space.
That's
It-
all
it's,
you need to
It's
know,
like
dude.
it's like the Expanse with the machete.
yeah. If anyone
Smoke a
goes into
joint
this
and
film,
go in and watch this movie.
Yeah. If
Oh,
anyone
it's
goes
brilliant.
into this film expecting to be A, scared, B, like, like see something serious, or C, just not see something goofy, fun, and entertaining with awesome kills, I don't know what the fuck you were thinking. Like
That sounds pretty positive.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I was thinking you're gonna have to
All
drink
about
that.
the kills.
Can we-
See, I was
we
trying
do
to
that?
reverse it. I was trying to reverse it. Wait, aren't you
can't-
on
you
my
can't, though.
team? Wait, who's on
You
my
can't
team?
do that.
Can
And
we
I
talk
respect-
about Arnold Schwarzenegger Voorhees or Jason Voorhees for a second here? The Super Shredder. This was
Uber
like
Jason.
Oh, Uber Jason. The nano ants just do a number on him. And if you see Kane Hodder in the makeup without the mask on, he looks like he's got cornrows, but cornrows out of skin. It's brilliant. It's the most amazing thing ever.
It's fucking awesome. I also love that before, when he was regular Jason, she had to cut the mask off.
Yeah.
I really love that detail.
Okay, the question I'll pose to you. The question I'll pose to you at this point, like everybody goes off and they're all having like sex all over the ship, and that's when Jason wakes up. And at the point that one of the women reaches a climax, Jason sits up straight. I'm like, is his resurrection powered by orgasms?
I mean, honestly, that's what's so funny about this movie is that it was so self-aware.
Yeah.
That all those things we were I had a serious question for Marcus early in this podcast about is that one of the tropes of horror movies, like sex and sexploitation and stuff? And this movie knew exactly what the fuck it was doing.
Yeah.
We were waiting for these people to, for no reason at all, depart to their private quarters and start fucking the shit out of each other so that Jason would be conjured. We knew he was dead until people started fucking. And then the climax is with that scene where those girls are at Crystal Lake in the hologram. And they're just being ridiculous and naked, and it cuts back to him, and he's beating them to death in sleeping bags. What more do you want, dude?
Why is he beating them to death in sleeping bags?
It's a throwback to part 7.
It's a throwback to part 7,
yeah.
Which is one of the best kills in the series.
7,
yeah.
God, that is so good.
He was using one dummy in a sleeping bag and hitting another dummy in a sleeping bag. Also, that was honestly, in VR.
Yeah,
they weren't even real in the first place.
Man, that VR was fucking great.
So honestly, I gotta be honest here. If I'm being real,
Marcus,
with you guys,
that's for you.
I think Ryan and I are crushing this debate.
Yes.
Anything negative to say about this movie? I mean, come on.
I think the negative is losing at this point. Okay, so let me just bring up one thing.
Everyone loves this movie.
The ending is funny. The ending is really funny. Like they crash out.
He's coming after us.
They're like cramming it down through the atmosphere. Like there's fire going everywhere. These people stand up at the lake. They go, "Look at that, a shooting star." And my first thought is, "Oh yeah, they're dead. They're dead."
No, I mean,
and then 12 years later, Sandra Bullock steals your fucking ending. It's like, stop losing
Gravity.
Stop leaving your fucking house, Sandra.
Oh, I never saw Gravity. Spoilers.
Spoilers.
Now it's over, dude. You can't see it now. Yeah,
I also
started
too late.
Yeah,
space movie.
Sandra Bullock immediately lands, gets out of a spacecraft, and comes and cuts up some fucking campers. Yeah, great. Yeah.
Space
uncut ending of Gravity.
weird thing.
Space movie trope, though. Space movie trope when they're just like, what do we do? How do we get out of this situation? Blow up the bridge. Done. And that's it. Like, I'm sorry. Apollo 13 spent 30 minutes trying to build a fucking cardboard fort. And here we are. It's like, how do we get out of this? Blow up the bridge. Boom.
Done.
Baby, we got ourselves an exit plan. Come on. Also, put an assistant in there. Why is there one person bringing somebody back to life with her back turned? Just give it
because the other two
get somebody
wanted to
else
go
in there.
Fuck.
Marcus, you're buzzed.
Oh, what? That wasn't positive. It was making fun of. Fuck it.
This movie is brilliant. This movie is brilliant because it follows. It ups the ante for the original Roger Corman rule that anyone can die. Was that Roger Corman or misquoting?
That was
Whatever.
Roger Corman.
All right. So if anyone can die, then
everyone can die.
Then anything can happen. When that bridge explodes and they finally blow the ship, and Brodsky is on the ship with Jason when it explodes into a tumult of fire. Jason spits at the camera. He is coming right toward the ship, and Brodsky comes from the right at a 90-degree angle, which means he got in front of him.
That's why it's called a broadside.
Used his jet propulsion system. Anything can happen. Every single trope you are looking for in a horror movie exists in this horror movie.
Yeah.
If you want to laugh and have fun and joke about the horror movie and be drunk and get high and have just like too much fun watching something really stupid but also brilliant because it's so stupid, this is it.
I'm glad you brought it up. On a scale of 1 to 10, how baked should you be to see this film?
Ooh.
Guys, I live in Japan. It's not even possible to get baked and watch something. You should not get baked and watch this film. It's brilliant.
Okay,
the only negative I have.
I watch it in
is,
the morning. watched it
final
during
scene.
daylight.
I watched it about an hour before.
This is how you woke
2 hours
up?
before
You
coming,
just watched this.
yeah, I just rewatched it. I can't even fucking say it. Whatever. You know what I mean?
Kurt Hodder has his own paranormal Hollywood ghost hunters
Kane
show.
Hodder.
Come on, that is Kane Hodder.
Kurt Hodder works at
What were you
Walmart.
gonna say,
Jeff, you're it.
Ryan?
I was
what
gonna
were
say,
you
Drink
say?
your whatever
Kurt
you're
Hodder
drinking
actually
up and
directed-
Narragansett.
It's funny. It's a good segue. Kurt Hodder directed the last scene. Kurt Hodder. No, I don't know. I'm just going with it.
Okay, Ryan.
the
Yeah, sorry.
The sight lines in the final scene. Fuck you. They're like.
It hasn't been a show until someone's told me to get
shooting
fucked.
Star. The shooting star going down here. They're looking up here, and then he lands in the lake, and they're like, "He landed in the lake. He clearly landed like in
halfway
fucking-
around the world, dude.
halfway around the world." They're like, "Look, there's no splash. There's no ripple in the lake."
That's both of you. That's a negative.
That's brilliant.
Oh my god! Cheers to
Oh fuck,
Cheers to
man.
that. Thank you, sir. We
Because
crushed it.
Crystal Lake is everywhere. That's brilliant. Crystal Lake is every lake, Dave.
Yeah,
How did
Crystal
you know-
Lake
that was a
Research
positive.
Facility as well is a brilliant idea.
Guys, we gotta wrap
I
it up.
just
Final
ask-
arguments. Final
Did anybody-
arguments or final questions.
Well, I have a quick.
If
Sorry.
ever.
Did
Go,
anybody?
Ryan.
Was anybody super confused but super impressed, like I was, of the opening credits? It's like someone made the opening.
I
credits.
wrote that I didn't like the opening title scroll.
Oh, see, I thought it was just incredible, but I was like, what does this have to do with this film? Why they're doctors? Who are they working on? Is this Jason? Like, they spent their effects budget on the opening credits.
Yeah,
I didn't realize she was frozen. I was like, what's
Ryan,
going
that's
on
for you.
here?
I'm not gonna lie, it kind of threw me back. It made me think about like Nightmare and these other films
Yeah.
that we've been watching. Like, because most movies don't show credits before the movie starts anymore, especially in the 2000s. This was made in the 2000s, so I thought that they were telling us how to watch this movie.
Yeah, and this for
Which I
real
appreciated.
does
They were
not.
like, this is going to be one of those.
It
This
doesn't
is a
end.
trope
It doesn't
movie.
end up where it started. Like the entire opening is a fucking misdirect. Almost.
Oh yeah, no.
I mean, Dave, the lighting in that laboratory where he's hanging. I'm gonna drink. My God, that's awful.
Yeah.
the lighting in that
Yeah. Or how about the costume design of the guy that's like a 20th century pirate? You know what I mean? The guy that is like wearing a bandana, and he's like, in one scene, they cut to him and he's just holding a head and he puts it aside and they don't explain it at all. He's just holding a head and he's like,
Yeah, and
he's
he
like,
doesn't
he's
even
like,
have, like,
you know what he
blood or
is?
anything.
You know Newman from, you know how Newman's in Jurassic Park? Like Newman, like, what's the password? What's the password? He's that guy for this, and for some reason he's holding a head, as if he's gonna like put a computer virus in this man's dead head. Anyway, Ryan, Dave Knight has said Japanese have started making some very good whiskeys. Do you have any shout outs for a Japanese whiskey you want to close this fucking movie with?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's super cheap over here. Suntory is like a national whiskey brand, and it's I don't drink it, so I'm just going.
Is it like our fucking Jack Daniels? Is it like our cheap whiskey over there? Is it like your Foster's beer in Australia?
Foster's?
Okay, that's for mentioning Foster's.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's like a cheap beer in Australia, right?
It's not even
Marcus,
a beer
did
in
you just say what's
Australia.
wrong with Foster's?
Is that what Suntory
No.
whiskey is like in Japan?
No, Suntory
Yes.
whiskey is everywhere. Suntory is everywhere. forget
What is
whiskey.
that for? What is that for?
No, that was for Marcus. That was for Marcus.
See, if you ever come to Japan, you got to get on the the chuhais, not high chews. Chuhais. That's like literally like there's grape, or they do different flavors all through the year, but it's like it's the most delicious drink. It's like almost like soft drink, but it gets you smashed. And they just don't release it in any other country. The chuhais are the shit.
Nice.
Whiskey, everybody loves.
It's like a
Japanese whiskey.
hard soft drink. There's
Yeah.
alcohol in it.
It comes in like cans like this, but they have the normal and the strong. The strong. I had like 3 strong chuhais, and I had like heart palpitations.
How
We
is
don't have to keep talking about Japanese whiskey, guys.
Okay,
how's
yeah,
Japan-
yeah. We're a
this
movie
really
podcast.
took a detour. So
we
if
need
you
to-
drink a lot of
okay,
Japanese
we-
whiskey,
we
you
need to
will
hand
love
this over to the
Jason
Avengers.
X.
Yeah, if you ask them a
Guys,
question.
Everybody else, I wonder what is it, Santori? I wonder how it tastes at 11:30 in the morning. You alcoholic. Okay, so we guys, we have to wrap this up. It's been a 2.5-hour podcast. Our
drunk.
fans, even though it is fall back, we're falling back. We have to let everybody say goodnight.
I feel like we've come down on the
Next
side
week,
of
before we do the-
Jason X is a good movie.
It's a
Yes,
brilliant
it
I
movie.
mean,
is.
it's just
Ridiculously
watch
brilliant.
it in a group. I would highly recommend watching it with a friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, get ready to laugh.
Smoke some
for sure.
weed, drink some
Yeah.
booze,
And if
All
you're
right.
a-
just realize it is
Enjoy.
taking a piss on itself.
if
Yeah.
you're a director or a producer out there, you need to employ these actors. I know, like Lisa Doig was Talia al Ghul in
Please.
Arrow.
Help these actors.
she's
Yeah.
been
Work.
she's done
Good.
like she's a sci-fi staple, dude. She's been in everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Amanda Brugel is in *Handmaid's Tale*.
Yeah.
And she's like she gets a throat slit, and no one really cares about her in this one.
Well,
I
we
care.
need.
I care.
Well,
care deeply.
we have guys. We have to wrap it up. Our guest hosts Marcus and Ryan. Thank you so much for joining
This
us.
has been great.
I hope we can reshare this. I hope next Halloween we can repost this so we can get some love. Any
this was
final
way too much
words that you
fun.
want to leave us with, Marcus? Anything else you want to say before you head out?
Any horror movie final words, dude? This is
Horror
it.
movie final words. Just because October is over does not mean you have to stop watching horror movies. Horror
Very
movies
good.
are a year-round event. Keep
Especially
watching
because they all come out in the first quarter. So if
That's
anybody
right.
likes
them.
horror
Wait,
movies,
no. Only
Wait.
the bad ones come out in the first quarter. We got to be careful
Wait.
with some of those ones.
all right,
Marcus,
all
what's your
right.
favorite horror movie of the last 3 years? Of the Trump presidency? No, I'm kidding. The last 3
Oh,
years.
geez.
Jesus.
Oh,
the
fuck
Trump
me.
presidency.
The
Yeah.
Trump presidency is our favorite horror movie.
Besides that, what is your what are your favorite horror movies recently?
Drink, Jeff.
Like,
You're a drink.
I would say Terrifier. That's a great one. I really dug The Hunt.
That's good.
I'm so drunk right now I can't even fucking think of the names of films.
perfect.
Oh wait, Mandy.
Yes.
Mandy, I saw that.
Okay, Marcus,
Cage.
for forgetting Mandy.
Wait, and I got one more.
All right.
VFW. Some say it's not a horror film. They kill a lot of motherfuckers in it. Great.
Ryan's speech is
Okay.
not 100% English. It's not 100%
Marcus,
English.
Marcus is hammered.
It's around there somewhere. Ryan, same everything. Go ahead. The floor is yours. We're wrapping it up. Ryan, thank you so much for joining us. Final thoughts.
Oh, fuck.
Final thoughts is, well, this has been a great return to horror films because I have to tell you, Dave and I spoke earlier this week. I've lost my nerve when it comes to horror films. I used to love them and I grew up on them, and it's since I moved to Asia because I've lived in Singapore for like 8 years and I live here now. There's a lot of paranormal understanding or things in everyday life here. So like I watched The Forest just before I moved to Tokyo, and like The Forest is about the forest at the base of Mount Fuji, which is like 2 hours down the road, where everybody just goes to. Well, not
Yeah,
everybody,
I know that
but,
film. Yeah.
legitimately, people go there to commit suicide. It's like one of the most popular places.
Holy shit.
It's extremely haunted. There's a sign to when you go into the forest saying, "Please don't go in here and kill yourself. It's just not worth it."
Holy
So,
shit.
Living in
man.
Japan has and when I used to be going back in my early 20s, I got obsessed with like Japanese horror, so like Battle Royale, Suicide Club.
Yep.
Battle Royale.
Yeah, man. Oh, killer. Really fucked me up. So living here has made me lose my nerve big time. So recently Dave and I were saying Bly Manor, even though it ended up being super, super mellow and lovely, and Hill House, The Haunting of Hill House, fucked me up. I know they're not films, but they fucked me up, man. I could not watch them. And on my list of films that I haven't seen, I have literally tried to remove horror films from it because I live alone out here and I actually get scared. But I did watch Anna and the Apocalypse recently, which was everything for me.
That was fun.
I love my musicals. I love my zombie
I've
stuff,
seen half
and-
of that, and I want to see the rest of it because the only
Yeah.
reason I saw half it is I had to go to bed because I had an early call the next morning. But yeah,
Well,
I need to see the rest of that.
I did a week on Christmas horror, and I love Black Christmas from back in the day. But a lot of my friends threw me some good Christmas horror stuff, so that was a solid week.
I can
So,
send
yeah.
you some stuff. I can send you some stuff too.
Marcus, you could. We are friends on Facebook now, so you can hook me
I
up.
will send you all some stuff. I will definitely send you some stuff.
Ryan, anything
Tell me
fun
what you look
planned
for.
today? Ryan, now that you have a full day ahead of you, anything fun planned for today? Now that you're fully
How about a nap? How
Yeah,
about a
I'm
quick
gonna
nap?
have some really, really intense business meetings.
The solid thing is I have three. There's a national. So we don't work Mondays at the moment, and we have a national holiday on Tuesday. So I've got 3 days up my sleeve. I've got three
You
more beers
lucky
left.
bastard.
I've got 3 more beers left in the tank, and
Oh my gosh!
I'll just let
yeah.
I'll let the day lead itself. Let's go with that.
Kudos to you. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been
I
so
wish
much
it was
fun.
in Tokyo
Thank
right
you,
now.
thank you again. Next week on the podcast, so back on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, etc. We're talking about films from 1995, and we have chosen 3 films. I believe you've heard them all. Did we choose the ones that I think we chose? Did we choose the ones that I said?
You never make notes. What the fuck?
So we're talking about.
well.
We didn't really decide, but let's go with
we're,
those
we're
three.
definitely
Go for
talking
it.
about 7. We're gonna do 7.
Is
David
on the
Fincher's
list.
David
Yeah.
Fincher's
Yes.
7.
What's
we
in
got
the
Ron
box?
Howard's
Yeah.
Apollo
What's in
13.
the box?
Yeah.
Apollo
And
13.
we're gonna
I
try
don't know
to-
if you've heard of it.
Apollo 13.
I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Apollo 13. Apollo 13.
And
we're
then
gonna try to redeem-
in memoriam of Joel Schumacher, we're gonna do Batman Forever. We're gonna go
Is
there.
it
and we're gonna see if we
Schumacher?
can
I think it's. I don't know if it's
Schumacher.
Schumacher.
Oh, you guys are
Down in the
daring.
south, we say Schumacher.
So we're going
gonna do Batman
populist?
Forever.
Yeah. We're talking Apollo 13. You may have heard of it. Ron Howard. Very excited to talk about it again. Did Gary Sinise have the measles? I don't know. Or what was it? Whatever. What? 7. Batman and Robin. Very excited. Is it
Batman Forever.
Robin,
Batman Forever.
Batman Forever.
Batman Forever. We're very
Oh my
excited.
god, this
Those
is
are
amazing.
2 different levels of drunk.
Your eyes.
Film fans,
Halloween,
thank you so much for joining us.
motherfuckers.
Happy Halloween.
Happy
Thank you for spending your
Halloween.
Halloween.
Happy
with us.
Halloween.
Thanks for
Hey.
joining us, guys.
Thanks for having us,
Thank you for
brothers.
Thanks for having us.
We're out. Fuck yeah,
Been a pleasure.
absolutely.
Drunk as shit, and it's amazing.
Close the shit down, Dave.